I'm hearing echo all right. Can you turn down your
cuckoo clock? You're hearing the cuckoo clock, is it?
was that cuckoo clock?
Yeah. Wait for the cuckoo. Okay, cuckoo finish already.
Hi guys. Hey, you want to type something down, just in case? Let's see whether the chat is working. Hi guys. Good evening. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, 12 a.m. in the morning. So good morning to you. I don't see anybody in. So if you guys are around, just do some typing, just to let me know that you guys are around. Oh, you guys are around. Oh, I just saw a whole bunch of you guys. Okay, I'm gonna act like the pastor in the church, right, in the morning. Morning, Jack. How are you, my son? Hello, Alan. How are you? Hi, Todd. Hi, Jack. Again, Jack Collins. Dominic. How are you, brother? In case you guys don't know, Dominic is a fellow Singaporean. Okay. Hi, Michael. How are you? Today I have something in store for you. A treat. I'm getting my friend, Wayne. I'm sure you guys have heard of him in my past videos. Especially this one, the video about this guitar from Harley Benton, this ST62. Yeah, Wayne actually fitted his, well, I call it a Mojo noiseless pickup that he concocted. It was a success, and it's still on this guitar. I didn't have the heart to take it off. So we're gonna have him this morning. Yeah. So you can feel free to ask him any questions that you have that is burning in your heart in regards to guitar maintenance, or any other questions. Like, just don't ask him too much about mature stuff. Like, why is mature enough? He's always a young lad in my mind. That's when I first met him, he was like really young, like 2019, and now he's married and all. So I'm so proud of him because of what he's been doing, right? So I tell you what, I'm not gonna wait anymore. I'm sure like he's like really nervous about coming out. He even text his mother to let her know that he's online. All right, so I'm gonna bring Wayne up, and this is Wayne.
Hi guys.
I hear you, Wayne. No, I can't
You hear
hear
me?
you. Why can't I hear you? See, stuff like this will always happen. Why can't I hear you now? Oh, okay. I can hear you actually. Yeah, all right.
You got me?
Yeah. I turned off my interface. So what are you doing in your workshop, Wayne?
I'm on this interview with you right now.
No, apart from that, no, come on. Even without this interview, you're always working late until
Late.
like in the morning,
Yeah.
right? So, how is this COVID-19 treating you so far?
Well, this whole COVID-19 thing was a bit of a shock to me at first, but I mean, I found ways to work around with it. Like right now, we can't visit anyone, and my customers can't really come over as well. So I'm working off a delivery model. So I actually have one of my friends who does deliveries for me right now.
Mm-hmm.
He goes and pick up the guitars and then bring it into me, and once it's just done, I'll have it sent back to the customers. And usually, before I send it back, I'll make sure everything is all good first before I send it back, because if any problems arise or happen, they'll have to send it back in again, which is troublesome. I will have to pay for the delivery for that as well to get them back here.
So, what do you do when you finish your repairs? Do you use a transport system or anything like that?
No, not transport system. I actually got one of my friends who was also a musician.
Uh-huh.
But as we all know, all the clubs in Singapore are shut. Musicians are out of work. So, I mean, musicians still need to eat, right? So, he kind of called me up at the start of it all and said, hey man, like, can I do the deliveries for you? It's like, yeah, sure, of course, like, I'll be more than happy to have someone helping me out with the deliveries.
Yeah, that's mighty gracious of you.
So there's like, it's...
I'm sure you have someone beside you working with you tonight, right?
Yeah, my colleague Edward is here as well.
Let me see his
Ed,
face.
say hi.
Come on, Edward. Come on, say hi to Sarah. Come on, show your pretty face, Edward. Come on.
Hello.
More.
More.
Okay, this is Edward.
Hello.
Great guitar player too, right, guys? So he's working closely with Wayne in his workshop, and Wayne is also an accomplished guitarist. In case you would like to know, he spent years playing in clubs or so before he decided to abandon it all and become a luthier, right? So Wayne, you want to tell us like when do you started having this interest? Well, first of all, as a musician, when do you start having this interest to be a musician?
I think music for me really started when I was like 13. I was like 13, 14 years old. I started taking lessons for guitar and then started playing professionally after my O-levels, which was 17 years old. I had got my first real gig and then was playing all the way till the start of last year actually. Yeah, the start of last year was when I kind of decided that it's like quite tired of it already, like working 2 jobs, day and night, not enough time to spend with family and all. Yeah.
So as you grow older, you finally realize that family is actually quite important, right?
Oh, very important. Not just quite important.
Okay, I'm going to deal with some technical issues here. Are you guys still hearing an echo, or are you guys all right? Can you hear both of us clearly? Just give me a thumbs up if you are hearing us clearly. In any case, so when do you start having an interest in this Luthering business, like learning how to repair guitars and stuff like that?
I started working for a guitar shop when I was, I think, at the end of 13 years old. Yeah.
13?
Yeah, like it was during like my secondary 1 school holidays, the year-end school holidays, and I started working part-time in the guitar shop. And I kind of never stopped. I worked all the way because I really like being hands-on with the instrument, and you learn a lot of things when you work hands-on with the instrument as well.
Alright, okay, hold on, Choto Mate. There is an echo on your side, so probably you want to put on your what do you call that, headphones or anything like that you have?
Give me a second, I go grab it.
And then off your iPad or whatever you have there.
Mom got earpiece or not?
He's asking his mother for earpiece. So, yeah, Wayne has a sort of a guitar repair business in his home. So, well, not in his home. He actually has it in his mom's place. So, there's his workshop that you can see behind the backdrop. So he does repairs for a lot of people, me included. So and whenever I need something to be done, I would always ask him to do it, and he's got impeccable service and it's real fast. Yeah. Are you done?
Getting it. Give me a second.
Yeah, you got to turn off. Oh, okay, whatever it is.
Oh. Alright, is that better?
Yeah, I think so. Should be okay.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, can you guys hear him? Hi, Guitar Journey. Say something, Wayne. Quote
Is that better?
Shakespeare if you can. Henry V. Come on, say something.
Can you hear me?
Hi, Sergio.
That's good.
Okay, cool.
Alright.
So you're in business. So your audio is great.
Cool.
Right. So where were we? Yeah, we're talking about you working in your friend's shop when you were 13 years old, and then
Mhm. Then yeah, I just kind of never left.
never
just
left.
worked all the way till I was in my 20s, my early 20s. Then I decided to take it really seriously. I went to study Luthier.
So when I first met you, how old were you?
Oh, I think it was maybe almost 10 years ago, when I was like 18 or 19.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, that was like a long time ago. Then,
That's a long
then
time ago,
right
man.
after that, you decided to go to, if not mistaken, MI, Musicians
Yep.
Institute, right? So how long
Mhm.
do you spend there in MI?
MI, the whole program itself was 6 months and 3 months, so total 9-month program over there. So 6 months was for electric guitar, 3 months was for acoustic.
3 months for acoustic, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense, but that's how the whole program worked.
Right. I'm going to answer a couple of questions here. Sergio said that you're my son. He's asking me. I would love him to be my son. In fact, he's like my son to me. No ampaos.
Uncle John's like my dad.
Yeah, and well, Guitar Spa is actually Jarvis. You know Jarvis.
Hi,
right?
Jarvis.
Yeah, Jarvis say hi. Edward Chin says that Edward Rayner is a kick-ass guitarist, and I agree totally. Yep. All right, so you guys got any questions? Just post them up, and just a little shout out. There is a super chat, just in case you want to support this channel, and of course there's this Patreon page. I'm gonna get all this done, right? So before we continue, all right, my next question to you is like, since you have spent 3 months learning about acoustic guitar, so we're gonna touch on acoustic guitar first. I have always a problem with acoustic guitars because, you know how like the tailors that I have, you know how it would kind of bulge right after the bridge, right? The wood would kind of bulge, and because we're staying in Singapore, so I guess humidity is one of the problem. How can we kind of prevent this from happening?
Prevent, okay, like for bellying, things like bellying, right? I mean, it's all due to humidity. It's whether is it like indoors or outdoors. I mean, humidity is very present in Singapore. I mean, in Singapore, our average humidity is anywhere from 80 to 100%. That's not good for guitar, man. It's just not good at all. I mean, one of the most common problems that I've seen as a luthier, right, is guitars that come in with the bridge lifting, like, just comes off completely like that. Yeah, so that's one of the main problems. And how do you really prevent it? I always tell my customers, if you can afford it, get a dehumidifier, maintain your room in like a good humidity setting. But I mean, but most players don't really want to like spend that kind of money to buy a dehumidifier for one guitar, you know, unless you're a collector or you have got a lot of guitars, that kind of thing. And simple fixes will be like just buy those silica gel packs that absorb moisture, throw them in your case. Like 1 or 2 packs is good in your case, and whenever the packs fill up with moisture, just replace them. It's not expensive. It's like $1-2, I think, for like box of 10.
So it's not advisable to hang out the guitar on the rack just to show
The only
off.
reason why this guitar over here is hanging up, right, is because my room is actually humidity controlled, and I maintain the humidity and temperature very, very closely for all the instruments that come in. Yeah.
So, okay, I hear you. What happens if, say, I put my guitar in an air conditioning room, but is it okay? It should be okay, right?
It's okay if you put it in an aircon room, but just try. If it's gonna be in aircon, it should be in aircon all the way. But sometimes aircon can get too dry. So I mean, like if you turn off the aircon, like I give you an example. If you turn on the aircon, your humidity can drop as low as like 40%. Then when you turn off the aircon, it can go up to anywhere between 70 to 80%. So I mean, during this time where the aircon is off, the wood experiences shock. Sometimes. So our advice to put like even those thirsty posts that you put on your table to like absorb moisture. Let me see if I've got some around. Something like this, like one of these packs.
Alright.
Yeah, so these actually help your room stay dry as well.
Yeah. Okay. How about electric guitars?
Electric guitars, I mean, to be honest, not as crucial. Electric guitars can take a bit of abuse actually, to be honest. Like you can leave it out in aircon. Of course, you're gonna have some changes in your neck, but I don't think it affects as badly. But of course, if you are talking about like very high humidity, like 90% humidity, or like if you're doing outdoor shows or outdoor gigs, for example, right, that you're gonna have a problem. Yeah.
So what are the common problems for humidity for electric guitars?
Electric guitars?
Warping?
Pots,
what?
electronics, your neck warping. When your neck is warped, you're gonna have really high action throughout the neck, and it may have been set up really, really nice before, but the moment it gets into a humid condition or a humid place, right, like for example outdoor stage, those things will actually affect the guitar a lot and makes everything go out. I mean, not just intonation, your pots will get scratchy, your output jack will get a bit scratchy as well, and you have a lot of crackling going on.
Define scratchy.
Or like, when you turn the pot and it's like
yeah, that's what that's what happened to me, right?
Yeah, that's what happened to you for your G&L recently.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what will happen when your guitar gets moisture into the electronics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not moisture you can see, it's just moisture in the air, Yeah.
So what would your advice be if say we have a guitar collection at home and then keep it in a case?
Keep in your case, put silica gel packs inside your case and check them occasionally, like maybe once every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and make sure that the packs are not filled up with moisture. If it's filled up with moisture, replace them straight away. Because I mean, that's the easiest and best way to do it. If you don't want to buy silica gel packs, one of the things that you can do is just keep your guitars dry every time you after playing. Like sometimes even guys who don't have sweaty palms, like moisture still.
And we know a couple of these people. Right?
Yeah,
that's just sweaty palms.
Yeah, like I've got sweaty palms, so like I do have to deal with this problem quite a bit. I always keep my guitars dry as much as possible.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna answer a couple of questions here. Right. So okay, Kendrick's. Let's just go stay in subject first, right? Dominic Choi. Do you think humidity issue is not as bad for guitars made in the Southeast Asia region?
Oh, of course, it's much better. I mean, if the guitar is made within like Southeast Asian region, meaning to say like
China, Indonesia, Thailand, yeah.
Depending which part of China, but mostly I would say Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, the Philippines. Guitars from this climate, right? When they come into Singapore, not that big of an issue because I mean the wood is already acclimatized to this climate. But if you take an instrument that's made here into the West, into the US, for example, where it's dry, of course the wood will actually experience some changes. And as these changes happen, like I mean, one of the biggest changes that you will see is the wood shrinking because humidity actually absorbs moisture. So humidity is where like your wood will absorb all the moisture and your wood will like expand. And when it gets dry, it shrinks. So when your wood shrinks, a lot of other problems come along with that.
Thank you, Dr. Wayne. Well, I'm having science class here, boss. Right. Okay. So just in case you guys are wondering, sometimes we'll break into this thing called Singlish, right? That's how we talk in Singapore. So we have a mixture of Chinese and English on a mishmash. So, don't mind us. We're just two Singaporeans chatting away. But try to catch up, will you? In any case, so what happens when the wood starts to shrink? Some of the common problems, like for example in the neck. So, what happens?
When wood starts shrinking, you'll have this thing called backbow. So, I give you an example. Like sometimes your neck is like this, so it's supposed to be straight, right? And when it has a relief, it kind of goes up like that. So this is your shrink area. But when it goes back, it goes like that. So you have a lot of buzz going on the first couple of frets. Other problems will be like your acoustic guitar binding. That's one of the most common problems I deal with as well with like Martin guitars, because when your wood shrinks, your binding is going to pop loose. Bridge as well will come loose at some point when it shrinks because it loses the wood glue contact. The contact point becomes shrunken.
How about the frets?
Frets, okay, there is this thing called fret sprouting. I think not a lot of people talk about fret sprouting. It's like when your guitar is too dry and your wood shrinks, sometimes your fret ends will actually pop out a little bit and it'll be quite sharp for you to play against. Like if you're sliding your hands up and down the neck, right, you can start to feel your frets being sharp. That's when you know that your frets are sprouting, and it's a problem that I think not a lot of people talk about or talk enough about.
Yeah, because I just saw a video about this guy repairing a 1930 something Martin D28, and it was in a really bad state, and the frets were like they just did a refretting job on this old guitar, and the frets were kind of like real high because the wood shrunk. So he was doing all this repair. It was an interesting video. So I might just put a link down below, if you guys are interested. And part of the reason why this thing happened was because, like what you said, the wood kind of shrunk through the years. So
yeah, correct. And I mean, not just the frets sprouting on the ends. I mean, you also have other problems like frets popping up. So I actually just got one guitar in about 2 hours ago. It's 70s Martin D35. That one's got a lot of pop frets actually. The frets are all coming out of the fretboard. So when you play, especially on the high E and your B strings, it's buzzing all the way. I mean, the note still comes out, but it's just buzzing, Yeah, so big fix. I have to reseat all the frets, re-level, redress. But I gotta do it.
So I think one of the good news is that as long as guitars are coming from the Southeast Asia region, meaning most of the guitars from, say, Harley Benton, in fact, all the guitars from Harley Benton, and maybe the Squires, some of the PRS SE series. So these are all guitars that are made in the Southeast Asia region. So for us, But how about those guys in say in North America or in Europe where it's really dry? What would you advise for the acoustic as well as the electric? How do they maintain? What advice would you give them? To get a humidifier in the room?
Yeah, actually, humidifier is one of the good ways to maintain this problem. So when I was in the US, right, I realized some things with my acoustic guitar actually. It got really, really dry in the winter, and bear in mind I was in LA. LA, you don't get like full on winter, like snow winter, it's LA summer / winter, so it's not super like cold, like -0, it's always in LA, it's at most like 8 to like 12 degrees for winter. But even when it's that kind of temperature, right, you will face some things happening on your guitars, like cracking and things like that. So one of the main things that I would advise is get a humidifier or like a humidifying system for your guitar. So if I'm not wrong, Grover sells a product that does this specifically. So you basically put like it's a sponge that has a container in it, and you put it in your case. So it keeps your guitar moist in a way. Yeah.
That's cool. But of course, there are some states in America that are not totally dry. I mean, totally wet, or totally dry. Yeah, like Florida, I don't think Florida is like totally dry.
Florida is humid. Yeah. Florida is kind of like Singapore actually.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So in any case, whether if you're in a dry or in a wet climate, it's best to keep your electric guitars in your case as much as possible.
Yeah, I always tell people to just keep all your guitars in your case when you're not playing, and try not to put them on a guitar stand or things like that. Because I mean, even though it may seem really convenient, but you actually have to end up paying the price in the long run. Like if you leave it there and let's say, I mean, like we all get caught up with like real life stuff, like people work, you go out, you don't actually get the time to play your guitar, and sometimes like without knowing it, you just leave your guitar there for maybe 2 or 3 months untouched, and when you actually go and touch it again, like, man, like why is my action high and all, and it's hard to play, like my fingers hurt now, and it's sometimes it's not due to the lack of practice, it's because your instrument is not taken care of properly.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, sometimes, this is something that we must take note of, actually.
Yeah, so keep your cases, man.
Yeah. All right, okay, I'm going to say hi to a couple of guys. Hi, Pascal. Hi, Gwenta. Hi, Bent. Hi. Some new faces here. Hi, Pascal. Yeah, I just said hi. Todd, how are you? Alessandro Babetta, ciao. Fratello, come sta? Sergio, yes, he's not my son. I wish he was my son. All right. Okay, another question that they have is from Kendricks, if I'm not mistaken. How do you deal with guitar dings? I have some dings that are quite sharp, and I don't know if I should use glue or sandpaper to smoothen it.
It really depends where the dings are and how fussy you are about cosmetics, because if the dings are on exposed wood, you can always steam it out, get a paper towel, wet it, and then use a soldering iron or like a steam iron to actually steam the wood back out. So that's one fix for dings that are on raw wood. But if it's on finish, right, you have to decide how much do you want to make it nice and pretty, or if you're not too concerned about the cosmetics and it looking fancy, there are other fixes, like you can sand down the thing, or you can put some super glue to fill it up. Yeah, or if you want to really do a very nice job and make it like look like as if it didn't happen, or reduce the look of how it looks like right now, send it to a professional. Get it done properly, Yeah, because I've seen a lot of horror stories that were done pretty poorly.
Yeah. And the other question is about a Floyd rose. I saw it somewhere. Where is this? Todd, right? So what's the protocol for oiling the guitar neck? How often and what finishes should or shouldn't be oiled? Okay, what he's asking is like there, in all these guitar parts in the guitar, which part should be oiled and which part should not be oiled?
I think one of the things that you should really take note of is your fretboard. But of course, never ever oil a maple fretboard. Don't ever do it unless it's, for example, roasted maple. These days, with all these roasted things coming about, many of these roasted maple necks are actually coated with this finish called True Oil, which is the same finish that they use on the Music Man necks, on the back of the necks of the Music Man.
Okay.
Gunstock oil.
Yeah, gunstock.
So True Oil is actually something that you would use to actually apply on for maple fretboards, but depending on what kind of guitar is it. So like, if let's say it's like a Fender reissue where it's glossy and all, right, you don't want to apply anything on that. Maybe just guitar polish is fine, or lemon pledge. I use lemon pledge a lot in the work that I do because it's easily available and it's cheap. I also recommend another product. It's Music Nomad. This is really, really, really good. I swear by it. Yeah, but generally with
wait, what is that? That new Music Nomad? What is that? The fretboard oil?
No, this is just guitar polish.
Guitar polish. Okay, all right.
I use this to like clean up the dirt and gunk from your finger grime on maple necks. But for rosewood necks, right, usually I'll advise to use like lemon oil. Lemon oil is good. Or there is this other product, Old English oil for dark woods. It kind of looks like soya sauce.
Oh, English.
Old English. The label fell off, but this is what it kind of looks like. It looks like dark soy sauce. But it actually does a very good job in nourishing your rosewood fretboards and ebony fretboards as well. But you gotta be careful with it. Don't let it end up on your nut, because if you've got a bone nut, the dark oil actually goes into the nut and kind of like stains and dyes your nut. Yeah. So if you're fussy about these things, just use regular lemon oil. Those regular lemon oil will not stain anything. So yeah, to answer the question on what kind of oils to use for fretboards and what type of fretboard should be oiled.
And no olive oil, right? No cooking oil, right?
No olive oil, no cooking oil. One other oil I would say to use, mineral oil. The clear mineral oil that you get from IKEA. Those kinds are actually pretty decent as well.
Oh, really? Okay. Cheap and good.
Yeah, cheap and good, Like always find the cheaper solution.
Yes, obviously. So there's another question about the Floyd Rose. I'm trying to find this. Okay, Alan, right? Alan, any advice on setting up a Floyd Rose? Well, in general, like, you don't get, we don't want to get too intricate, like,
In general, have whenever you're setting up a Floyd Rose and when you're fixing on the strings, try to put something underneath the Floyd Rose to keep the bridge kind of at like a 0 point. Most times I just use like a 9-volt battery and put it under the bridge. Yeah, so that's one of the main things that I would say when you're setting a Floyd Rose. Important thing.
Okay.
Yeah, other than that, it just takes a lot of time and patience. You've got to be very patient with your Floyd Rose. Don't lose hope, even though like you're not even halfway there yet. You just got to be very patient with it. Yeah. I still have problems with it. Still, like, I mean, not really problems, but it's not something that I can say, I can do it for you in 45 minutes. Like, it's not that kind of job. It easily takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to set a Floyd Rose properly.
Yeah, and this one of the problems that I have with Floyd Rose is why I gave it up. Just you know me, you fix all my guitar.
Yeah.
So I just kind of gave up the Floyd Rose.
You still have the Floyd Rose guitar, just don't use it anymore.
Well, I don't have it here actually. It's with my friend Jeff.
Oh, okay.
Right, Jarvis, he was laughing, said olive oil. Don't laugh. There are actually people who actually put olive oil, and cooking oil, three rifle brand or 3 knife brand.
I have seen so many of those, man. I ever once received a guitar, maple neck Fender. The guy told me he spammed olive oil on the whole neck. And when I picked up the guitar, it smelled like oleo, man, aglio oleo. It just smelled like pasta. So I asked him, like, what kind of oil you put? Say, I put olive oil. It's like, wow, you're not supposed to do that.
Well, it is what it is. There'll be people like that, so... Alright, okay. So I'm going to say hi to a couple of guys. Hi, Orion. He's like you, Wayne. He's always calling me uncle, even though he's like 30 over years old. And Comforter Spirit is actually Leonard Rizzo. You know Leonard? Wayne.
Oh, Leonard.
Yeah,
hi,
he's here, right? We have a couple of local guys here. Hi, Kita Journey. Right, who else did I didn't say hi to? If I don't say hi to you, don't get offended. Hi, Lind. Okay. Right, I think I covered most of you guys. So if there's any new guys here, say hi, and I'll say hi to you. Any more questions, just kind of like ask away if you want to. I'm going to ask Wayne a couple of my own questions. So, Wayne, can you answer me this question that that's been bugging me for the longest time, ever since I asked you about refretting. Why is refretting so expensive?
Why is refretting so expensive? Okay. I'll give you the summarized version. Okay, so what makes a refret expensive?
Not the businessman version, but the musician's
not the businessman version, but like the summarized, straight to the point for musicians to understand version, right?
Yeah.
It takes a long time to do, and it's a lot of work. So on average, right, like to do an entire full refret, if I do it quick and I really put my heart and time into it and do it properly, it usually takes me about anywhere between 5 to 8 hours to finish one full neck refret. Yeah, so it's a whole day job, really, and that is because I'm doing it at the rate that I'm doing. It's because I've been doing it for a long time. So, but you want to do it nice, you want to do it decent, right? It really takes a lot of time, and you cannot afford to have any mess ups on the refret, which is why a lot of people charge quite expensive for refrets. I mean, to be honest, I've seen refrets that go for really cheap, but I mean, you know what they say, you get what you pay for, Yeah.
Well, I'm kind of losing you here. I don't know why am I losing you. Wait, what happened? Okay, that's a problem with this, live streaming with
multiplayer live streaming.
Yeah, it's like crazy. Sometimes I don't see. I just lost you. I don't know why I just lost you. Why am I losing you? Okay, in any case, I can still hear you. So, wait. Let me settle this. Okay, just give me a second, guys. This is not good. I don't like this. How can I not have my guest on the screen, right? Video capture. No, I still don't have you. How come? Chat box, video capture. It's my chat box. Okay, this is something. This is really weird. I don't know what's happening.
I think most guys can hear me still though.
Yeah. They can hear you, but they can't see you, so that's not good.
Yeah.
Wonder why. Okay, I'm gonna reset your image again. Hold on, give me a second,
Slowly. I'm good. I'm just sitting here.
Yeah. So sorry. Things like this
How's-
happens.
It's alright.
Window capture.
You just can't send.
What was it?
Lightning.
是10啊 10 ah. The other room lah.
God, that new phone.
Really
What's that?
Edward is afraid to turn on the sender because we are on live stream.
Oh man. Sorry.
Just turn it on like it's okay. I'm on microphone anyway.
Okay.
No, I can't. I don't know what happened. It was working just now, right?
Yeah. Alan said YouTube is having a lot of problems this week.
Oh, is it? No, it's not about
Yeah.
YouTube. It's something to do with my OBS. So. All right. Hopefully I can.
God,
Right. Go on.
I'm looking at the stream on my phone, and I disappeared.
Yeah, you disappeared. That's why I don't like it. No, window capture image. Window capture window.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna try again. So. All right. So I'm gonna like.
I'll go answer some questions on the stream. I think Dominic asked the question.
You can answer them. You can't hear you. Yeah, now you're back. Thank God.
Okay, great.
Okay, so.
Yes, I think Dominic asked the question about an old Yamaha acoustic. The top heaves up when strung. The bracing delaminates. So usually, right, for older guitars, having loose braces is quite a common problem. So I actually do brace repairs quite a bit. It's a pretty common problem that we have in Singapore because it's humid, and then sometimes the wood glue inside loses its strength already. So just get it glued back properly, clamp it down. It should all be back to normal already right after that, unless other things happen, But generally, braces can be repaired.
Cool. Okay, now you're back. Thank God you're back. Okay, so what were you guys asking? Okay. Your refresh is a lot of work. Yeah. Jarvis agree with you. Right. Jack Collins. His question is about fender neck on a
Right.
Harmony body. Would it fit?
I've not seen the harmonies that are reissued in the last 2 years yet, but it really depends on the width of the neck pocket itself on the body. So Fender necks generally have a 2 and 3/16 inch on the last fret for the width. So unless the harmony pocket is 2 and 3/16 of the width, it should fit if it's the same width. If not, you probably have to get it modified. Get the neck pocket routed out again. It's a pretty common thing that I do here as well when people bring in parts casters for me to assemble. Like they buy a body from, let's say, WD Music, and then they buy a neck from All Parts, and then things just don't fit. So I'll have to route the neck pocket to fit. Yeah, it's quite a lot of work as well.
Yeah. So what do you think about like getting a warmer neck, custom order a warmer neck, and then fitting onto your existing Fender body or whatever bodies that you have? Do you think it's worth it?
Definitely worth it. I mean, if it's something that you like, some like woods, profile specs, fretboard radius, even fret material, sure, why not? I mean, usually in most cases, if you order a neck from Walmart and direct retrofit to a Fender body, you shouldn't have a problem at all. It's just really you pop it off, pop it in, screw it on, you're good. Yeah.
Yeah, some of us have this mindset that we want to buy the guitar whole. Like if I want to buy a Fender Stratocaster from Fender, I would like to buy it whole. Knowing for the fact that this neck is made for this body, and
Right.
vice versa, whatever the parts that is like stock from the factory, right? Some of us will have apprehension on like getting in another neck from somewhere, some other source, and fitting onto the existing body. So this is kind of like to dispel all that fear, apprehension in some guitar players lah. So actually it's okay, right? It's okay.
Yeah,
Right?
it's perfectly fine. I mean, I must admit lah. I mean, like over the years, I've known some what I'd like to identify as tone Nazis. Tone Nazis are very very fussy about the instrument being a whole. So like they say, oh, if you change the neck, it's not going to sound right or not going to sound the same. But I mean, it really depends on what the approach you're going for. I mean, if you're looking for like example like Fender 57 sound or Fender 62 sound, of course, getting the 62 reissue or the 57 reissue is going to get you as close as you could possibly get. But sometimes, I mean, if the profile just doesn't work for you, it just doesn't work for you. You just got to change to something else. And warm-off is a very good option to consider because they do custom.
Right. So getting back to the refretting thing, right? So what do you think are the differences or the stark differences between a stainless steel, a nickel, and what other materials are there?
Okay. Materials out there. There's quite a lot actually. So we have nickel, we have stainless steel, we've got brass. There's this other material called Evo Gold. It's basically gold color frets by this company called Jessica. I actually carry those frets, but I don't really fix them very often because I mean tonally they do sound a bit different from nickel and stainless steel.
In what way?
And
In what way? In what way are they different?
It's a bit brighter.
Brighter.
It's a bit brighter than nickel, but not as bright as stainless steel. So
Alright.
to dispel the common myth that everyone has always been asking me, like, oh, stainless steel frets and nickel frets sound the same.
No, they
I
don't.
like to disagree. They sound completely different. To my ears at least.
But we're talking about very minute differences, not like a couple of dBs of differences.
They're definitely not like level differences, but more of a tonal difference.
Yeah.
And it's
I'm
minute,
talking about
but-
like tonal difference. It's not like real stark. Like you bring up like 1 dB of 8K. I don't think
Yeah,
it's
no,
that.
not
Just
like
very
that.
slight.
It's very slight differences, but of course it also changes the way you play as well.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So I think it's more on the playability. Nickel compared to stainless steel compared to brass. Okay, so what's brass all about?
Okay, brass frets are actually the frets that you see on a lot of the older Warwick basses. So all the old Warwick basses actually use brass frets. I got a sample here actually. Let me just pick it up. So they kind of look like this. These are brass fret wire. I'm not sure if you guys can see, but yeah, it's gold, yellow. Pros and cons about brass. Brass actually rings very well, but the problem with brass is brass wears out really, really fast. If you guys think nickel frets wear out fast, right? You guys are wrong, man. Brass frets really wear out really quickly. So, because it's soft, the material is very soft, and because of its density as well, you get a certain kind of sound from it. They call it like the system called bell brass. Like how old bells are made of brass, right? That's the reason for using brass for Warwick instruments, the bass especially.
Alright. So, you want to show us your studio a little bit?
Sure.
Are you able to do that?
Yeah,
Yeah. That'd be nice. That'd be neat.
I check my table out. on
And
this
see whether
end, so-
Edward is working first.
Edward is working. Edward's doing a setup. Edward, say hi.
Hello. Hi guys.
Yeah, and other parts of my workshop. It's a pretty small space, but I kind of have everything that I need over here. My little bandsaw is there, and my drill press is on the other side. There's my drill press.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's a small space, but you make do with what you have in Singapore because property is expensive here, man. Property is very expensive here. Cannot afford property. And I'm moving out of my mom's house.
Oh, you're getting an office space soon?
I don't think anytime soon with the whole situation that's going on right now, and having an office space means having to pay rental. Rental adds up in Singapore, man. Like I ever calculated before, if I was to rent a space every month for like even like a cheap space like in the 1,000 region, by the end of the year I'll be spending like more than $10,000. I could take a very nice holiday and buy a couple of guitars with that as well.
So do you still play? Do you still want to go back at night to play in the clubs when it reopens?
From time to time, when it reopens, I think from time to time I'll still do reliefs, be a substitute player, but not full time for sure. Like full time, I think is very draining for me these days because I've got a lot of repairs and a lot of custom work that I'm working on, and I've got plans for my business as well. So, if I were to play full time again, right, I think it'll take a lot of time out of it for me. So. Definitely not full time, but
will you miss it? Will you miss like not playing?
I actually miss not playing already right now because like ever since the club's closed, right, I started to feel like, oh shit, man, actually I really appreciated the days that I had gigs all the time. Like people were calling me like, hey, got gig you want to do? It's like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll go and do it. But now I don't get any calls from people at all because everywhere's closed completely. Yeah. So to answer your question, Uncle John, yeah, I do miss playing. I do miss playing, and I do miss the social interaction of other musicians on stage as well. I think that's the biggest part I miss, actually.
Yeah, I think human interaction is something that is so important. I'm actually going a bit crazy right here because all I interact is with people like my subscribers when we're doing live chat, and I'm doing a whole lot of live stream which I decided to curb. So I've been going cold turkey this whole past week with no live stream at all.
It's an addiction.
It's not addiction, it's just the need to talk to people. I have my wife, I have my kids, but it's a different thing. No one to talk guitar with. Sometimes I'll call you up just for the sake of calling you up and asking stupid questions.
Yeah, but it's okay. I enjoy those conversations.
Yeah, so I think sometimes we need human interaction, And when the days of recording in the studios are over, when we used to gather around in studios, drinking coffee or whatever you were drinking, and then we would just chill and hang out, and sometimes the producer would pop up from one of the studios and say, hey, I need a guitar part, and then you say, I'm here. Okay, then you just go in and do your job and get some money out of it, and we just chill, and there's this comradeship, among musicians and backup singers and arrangers and producers. But ever since this home recording thing started, then everybody's working in their own homes, and all of us have become really conceited, really really alienated from community. So, and you, I guess after you left that place that you used to work with, the place you used to work in, you are now confined in your mom's house.
Right.
So I don't think you see anybody except for Edward, and your dog.
I mean, with the current situation now, the only guy that I see is Edward and my delivery guy Sam. So these are the only two guys that I see. But before the whole circuit breaker, the whole COVID thing happened, all my customers actually come down here and I'll have a chat with them, and then
I know
we will discuss what are the problems that we need to do and rectify the problems. And that's, I guess, was my only escape for social interaction. That was the only time when I could actually interact with people. Other than that, if I'm not playing out there anymore, I don't really meet people or interact with them. I don't really like to socialize outside because sometimes it takes up a lot of time. Yeah,
you're right. It takes up too much time.
Yeah.
Yes, Bent will agree with me. Yeah, 100% human interaction with friends is great. Yeah, obviously. That's why I love you guys. I always hang out with you guys if I can. But like I say, I'm trying to go cold turkey with this. Hi, some new guys here. Yang Bo Yao. Oh,
That's my uncle.
Yao. You know him?
That's my uncle, man.
Your uncle. Hi,
Yeah.
uncle. See, I told you,
uncle
Wayne
Bo
told his mom. His mom told her brother. So the gangs are here, right? Kendricks, you got another question. When is a good time we should send our guitars to a luthier for setup? Also, are there any risks in refretting?
Okay, I think this is a very good question. So, I get asked this question a lot. So, usually, right, I'll advise my customers for setup every 6 months to a year, and it also really depends on how heavily you use the instrument as well. So, I'm assuming that most of the guys just play for leisure or hobby, right? usually you just send your guitar once a year is good enough, But I mean, if you're a gigging musician or a professional musician that does this for a living and you're playing at least like 4 to 5 hours a day, every day, I'll advise like more like 6 months for electric and acoustic both, because you never know what's going to happen to your guitars, especially when you're always out and about doing gigs. You can end up doing outdoor gigs or indoor gigs, and the instrument has this thing called wear and tear, so it's bound to happen at some point within the long hours that you're playing. Some strange things will happen. So I advise for setup every 6 months to a year. But for most hobby players, once a year is good enough,
Yeah. So I mean, I'm actually quite blessed because I got guys like you, who actually encourage me to fix certain things myself. But then, of course, it's not good. It's not good. It's not good for your business, But but it saves me a whole lot of
trouble and effort.
Yeah, pain actually, because when I'm overseas, in one godforsaken country, and then there's no luthier around that I actually trust, at least I'm able to like do certain things, minor stuff, and not major stuff. So I think that's great. Yeah. So I want to thank you also.
Anytime, Uncle John. I think Kendrick has another part of his question.
Right.
Are there any risk in refretting?
Yeah.
So the risk in refretting, right, I'll say mostly applies to guitars with maple and ebony fingerboards. So rosewoods, I don't really ever have a problem with it. Rosewoods are pretty straightforward. So with ebony, right, ebony is a very brittle wood. Even though it's very hard, it's very brittle. So one of the biggest risks that I do with ebony fretboards is whenever I take off the frets, right, you'll definitely have some chips going on. So I guess the biggest risk is, as a luthier especially, is how to remove your frets cleanly without any damage to the fretboard for both maple and ebony fretboards. Like for maple necks, they are usually lacquered, so many times when you remove the frets off a lacquered neck, right, your lacquer will chip. Yeah, so that's the other risk that I'll say. In fact, I tell most of my customers who bring in maple necks for refret to, I'll tell them like, in case of anything, I'll let you know first. Sometimes like the lacquer will chip, but I'll do my best to minimize all the chipping. And if it does chip, I'll do a refinish on the fretboard to make it look nice and pretty again. Yeah, so that's to answer Kendrick's question.
Cool. Okay, well, just to recap a little bit, Alan and Ben, they always talk about themselves. So sometimes I feel really lonely because when I'm doing live stream, because they'll talk about themselves. So they were saying about...
You can talk to me.
100% human interaction is, with friends are good. And then Alan says being lonely is the hardest part of the pandemic. Right? Yes, it is the hardest part. But thank God for YouTube and thank God for Facebook and whatever you have out there. At least we are still able to keep in contact with your loved ones in many ways. But there's always SMS and everything, and there is Zoom and FaceTime and whatever you have. Right. So Alan has another question. So what are the best strings for a long life between changing them? I hope he's not talking about all those Alexia strings, right? Because I don't believe in them. So I remember you telling me that you do not also believe in them as a player, not as anything.
Yeah, so okay, best strings for a long life between changing them. Honestly, the answer is Elixir, like those actually last the longest, but personally, tonally, right, I mean, especially for electric guitar, I don't think Elixir strings are very good for electric guitar. Fresh off the pack, they do sound kind of dull already. But the nice thing about Elixirs is, I mean, if you get past the stage of dealing with this dull sound fresh off the pack, they kind of stay dull all the way. Right? Elixir strings can last anywhere from 1 to 6 months, depending on how you store your guitars for electric. However, for like acoustic, right, I would say that Elixir strings are actually pretty decent. They pair up really well with Taylor guitars because Taylor guitars are really bright, and Elixir strings off the pack is quite dull already. So it kind of balances out the thing, and I know a lot of my customers like to do that, but personally as a player, I don't really agree with that. I like the traditional strings like Via Dario, uncoated, it's cheap, it's straight off the pack, like it's easy to get, it's easily accessible, you can just change the strings and you don't feel so pain about it, like it's like, oh, I spent $20 on strings, you don't feel that pinch.
Yeah, in my experience, I think because I do a whole lot of recording, so for as far as acoustic guitars, I tried. In fact, the thing is, I just stay away from Alexia, period. Whether it's for electric or for acoustic, because somehow there's a sheen that covers this whole spectrum of frequencies that you would expect to get from, say, a normal bronze, bronze earth wound, right? You heard
Yeah,
earth
the
wound.
Ernie Ball ones.
Yeah, those are really nice. Or even the Martin authentic strings, they are all
The Martin
nice.
authentic strings are great.
Yeah, so when I'm using an Alexa for acoustic guitar, I find there's a sheen that's covering this, so it doesn't translate well into the microphone. Yeah, like you say, if I'm not too anal about it, I can just like live with it, But I wouldn't want to do that. It just affects your playing in any way. In any case, going back to where you touch on, I'm sure you have changed like a whole lot of strings in your guitar fixing time. So, which are the best strings in your experience? The best sounding strings.
Electric or acoustic?
Let's start with acoustic.
Acoustic, personally, I think one of my favorite strings would be the D'Addario EXP.
All right.
So EXP is actually coated, but I don't think it's really coated because the strings do rust, but they do last a bit longer than the regular D'Addario acoustic strings. And I like phosphor bronze more than 80/20 bronze because phosphor bronze has a warmness to it that is very woody. You can actually get the guitar's woody sound to come out more on phosphor bronze strings. Whereas like bright bronze strings, they are very crispy. It depends on what kind of sound you're going for acoustic. Another brand for acoustic strings that I like, Martin Authentic. Those are really, really good. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, in Singapore, strings don't last very long. So strings at most, if you're lucky, and if you got 30 pounds, and if you're really lucky, 2 weeks.
How about the Martin retro strings?
The silver color ones.
Yeah, the retros.
Those are okay. I haven't really had enough time to play a lot on those, but from the past few times I worked on those, they actually sound pretty decent. Yeah. It's got
I kind of like them.
character.
Yeah, I kind of like them. They're very vintage, like very woody. And it makes the guitar sounds really woody. So if you have like a bright acoustic guitar, like maybe a Taylor, that would fit. Yeah. How about electric guitars?
Electric guitar, my favorite, D'Addario XL. Just the simple XL, no nonsense. I'll show you the
cheap,
box in case
cheap
you
and
were
good.
wondering. Just these guys. Just the regular D'Addario XLs. These guys will last a good maybe 1 week at most. But they do sound very good.
More than a week.
I got 30 pounds, so I change my strings very often when I was gigging regularly. Yeah.
Alright, cool. So, how about 12-string guitars?
12-string. 12-string I use this D'Addarios, but I use very light gauge for 12-string. Like, by light, I'm talking about 9s or 10s for 12-string.
That's very light.
Nothing more than that because, 12-string...
Yeah, the tension.
Your tension, your neck, your bridge. I did your 12-string with
the bridge came off, right?
The bridge came off, right? So, with 12 strings, I always recommend a lighter gauge, and especially if you're going to be playing in standard tuning, because usually 12 strings, most players tune them down to D or E flat, so and then they put a capo to get the tuning back.
Actually, I actually do that, but somehow which one did I send to you? Washburn, right? So I think the Washburn was kept in the warehouse for the longest time before it got sold to me. So the bridge kind of gave way. And it was always tuned in E flat. Anyway.
Yeah, I think the last time I did for you, we tuned it down to D, if I'm not wrong.
No, but I tuned it back to E flat because it was a pain.
Right.
Too high, with a couple and everything. Right. So let's answer a couple of questions. Okay. So any tips to light the fretboard up? I want to install LEDs under it.
To lift the fretboard up. So I think what Gunter means is to remove the fretboard, right? One of the things that I do for like fretboard removals is I use a steam iron and cloth and protection, wax paper actually. So you want to kind of sandwich the wet cloth between the wax paper and not damage the fretboard itself when you're steaming off the fretboard. But always remove your frets first. And if you're doing a maple neck, try not to do it. Just avoid it completely if you're doing it on maple neck. If you're doing it on rosewood, on ebony, sure, go ahead and try. Like those are okay to take the risk on, because I mean, if you make damages, you can still hide the problems on rosewood or ebony. But if it's on maple, right, you can't hide it, man. It's just gonna show up and it's gonna be ugly.
Yeah, yeah.
The LEDs won't help.
Yeah, yeah. LEDs. All right.
Yeah.
So, what kind of guitar do you prefer fixing? Electric or acoustic or classical?
Electric and acoustic actually mostly. I mean, classical guitars do have a different set of skill set that you need to do for them. And I do know a guy that's locally that's really, really good with classical guitars as well. Yeah, so when I do get some really serious classical players, those who actually take exams and have a proper grade and stuff, right, I'll usually recommend them to that guy. But I mean, if it's a simple fix, I'll just go ahead and do the job. Usually the things that come in for classical guitars, if it's not for action, it's usually for bracing issues or nut issues or saddle issues, you know. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, this is from Eamon Jamera. Is it safe to use WD-40 to clean fretboards?
No. No. I used to use WD-40 to clean my strings when I was a kid. Like when I was starting to play guitar and didn't have a lot of money, right? So I would just put WD-40 on my strings to keep them rust-free. But I think after a while, I started to realize that WD-40 actually eats into the wood over time. Yeah, so it was one of my first few fenders that I actually ever owned. I was using WD-40 on it constantly because I was using uncoated strings, and I would change my strings like once every 2 months, you know. So you can imagine the amount of rust that builds up there. So I use WD-40 like really every day on that, and it got to the point when I decided to refret the guitar. I took off the frets, and in the fret slots it's all grimed and like crumbly, like the wood kind of disintegrated inside the slot actually without me knowing it. So I don't recommend WD-40. Yeah, I spent a long time doing that repair actually. Like I think I sat in the shop that I used to work at overnight to fix that guitar of mine to get it back playing again.
Hey Wayne, can you tilt the camera, your iPad down a bit?
Down, okay.
Just a touch down some. Okay, all right, okay, cool. Yeah,
okay.
So they can. Yeah. Anyway, there's a girl is Audrey Lei Hun Yam. If I buy a first instrument, a Yamaha acoustic, should I change out the default string?
If you have a preference for strings already, right? Yeah, I'll advise you to change out the strings to the strings that you prefer. If not, I mean, just live with what it comes on. And if I'm not wrong, the Yamahas come with B and Ariel strings already stocked, so those are actually pretty decent. Yeah, but if you have your own preference, change it.
Well, you know, I order a lot of guitars from Harley Benton, so sometimes the guitars that comes in, they're always string with the Arderos anyway. Well, it depends on how long the guitar has been in the warehouse. So sometimes the guitars will arrive like all rusted, the strings are all rusted, so you have no choice but to change them. The recent stuff that I got from Harley Bentons are all like, fitted with new strings. So, hey, if it ain't broke, why fix it, right?
Yeah,
still use
exactly.
it. Yeah. All right, so stay away from WD-40, period. As far as
Alan
guitars.
agrees.
Yeah. We actually have a conversation about this WD-40 a couple of streams ago. I don't know what happened then. All right, so let's come to this question that a lot of guitarists have their own opinions on, and some are really violently opposed to certain aspects of, certain point of view. I'm not talking about violently. They are really violent because, F words were used. So, I'm going to ask you, Wayne, as a luthier, does the weight and mass of a guitar affects the tone in electric guitar?
Course.
In electric guitar, okay. So there's this argument that it doesn't really matter because everything boils down to your pickups. So,
Okay.
what's your take on this?
The mass, density, everything on the guitar, right, affects your tone. It's not just about the pickups, because I think on a more scientific level, right, there is this thing called a Q factor. So most layman guitarists, right, or most like even many professional players, right, do not understand what Q factor is. So Q factor is actually the resonant peak of your instrument itself.
The what? Sorry, come again?
The resonant peak.
Resonance peak. All right, okay.
The peak, the peak of the resonance of the instrument, right? So, like let's say instrument A has a resonant peak of maybe 5 kilohertz, and maybe instrument B has a resonant peak of maybe about 4.6. So what actually determines your full resonant peak is got to do with your mass, your hardware, everything, and not just the pickups. Because I can have two of the same pickups, and I'll give you the best example actually. EMG pickups. Everyone thinks that you pop EMG pickups into any guitar, right? It'll sound the same anywhere, right? But actually, that I like to argue with that. I mean, like, I've had the same EMG pickups put on a few of my own guitars that are of different woods, and I can still tell you that I hear a very big tonal difference from all the instruments that I have EMGs on. Yeah. So that's my take. I think the wood actually affects your tone, and it's not just all about the pickups.
So how about the neck? Like, the girth of the neck, like the thickness of it, the U shape or whatever you have. But it don't matter about the shape. We're talking about the girth of the neck. Does it affect the tone also?
Of course. I mean, it affects the tone in a very, very big way. I mean, put it very simply, you want big tone, you have a big neck. You want a small neck, you get slightly smaller tone, and you have to probably compensate that with your EQs, your effects, and settings like that. Yeah.
Right. So, in other words, if I want to play a sort of an Ibanez guitar with real, like the pencil thin, like a paper thin neck, those Ibanez guitars are really, really thin.
The wizard necks.
Yeah. So these will obviously will have a impact on tone, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Cool.
I mean, a lot of people will argue with me, and I expect to be argued with on this after this. But I have my own beliefs, and I think based on experience, I mean, I used to be an Ibanez guitar player, and I was like strictly Ibanez only when I started playing guitar. Like, I had the old RG550s, then I had a J Custom, so I was very pro. Yeah, I was one of those guys, right? Those like 80s shredder, hair metal kind of guys. After playing all these guitars, and after playing a Fender guitar with a big neck, like a bigger neck as compared to Ibanez, right? I really start to understand the difference in terms of why the neck thickness and the girth actually affects your tone.
Well, Alan got a point here. He says his point is that lightweight bodies will resonate more than heavy ones.
Yep, for sure. I really agree with that.
Right. So, having a heavy body and mass, what advantage does that pose?
Heavy body and big mass guitars, right, usually tend to have better sustain. And there is this thing that not a lot of people touch on as well, natural compression. So the heavier your guitar, right, the more natural compression you get, actually. And also...
All right, okay. Let's be really defined about this. When we talk about a lightweight body resonates more, we're talking about acoustically, like when you're playing a lightweight guitar, what you hear from your ears, it resonates because it's lighter, right? So
correct.
It resonates more. But if you're gonna plug it into an amplifier or to anything, a heavy guitar or a guitar with mass will have more sustain that translates through the pickups, right?
Yep.
So what are you trying to tell me?
Yep, exactly.
Right. So if I have a lightweight guitar and if my pickups are okay, like an EMG, then, so it would sustain. Will it sustain?
Yep, it will.
Will it sustain?
But
yeah.
It will sustain, but you tend to lose this thing called high mids. So I always find that with lightweight guitars, depending on the type of wood, like there is this thing going on in the last maybe 10 years, chambered bodies. I mean, I'm sure we've all heard of guitars with a chambered body. So what chambering does is it lightens your body. Yeah, so Gibson actually started doing the whole chamber thing, I think, in the early 2000s, and I think as of 2008, all the Les Paul standards were chambered. So with all these chambered body things, right, I find that if the guitar's meant to be heavy and you chamber it, you will tend to lose a lot of high mids, and you have to compensate that either on your EQ or on your effects or things like that,
Yeah, I always have an aversion to chambered bodies because I find that it doesn't really, like I was sharing many times about the Harley Bentons that I use. I think you fixed one up for me, the humbucker, single humbucker, the Fusion Pro.
Right, the Fusion Pro, yeah.
Yeah. And I bought it for a gig, and it didn't work well for me because it lacks the weight. When you're playing distortion, you can feel it. It lacks the weight of my Strat, my Japan made Strat, or even the G&L Comanche or whatever. Those guitars that are that are heavy in the first place. They actually carries that weight, not literally like the weight on my shoulders,
More
but
body in the sound.
yeah, and it's very apparent because I've been playing guitars for so many years, so you can kind of tell the difference straight off, and that's the reason why I didn't use that guitar anymore for live gigs, but for recording. That's where Alan comes in, where it resonates really well because it has a certain sound to it. And yeah, so that's... Anyway, so we have settled this once and for all, but there will be guys who will still argue, so...
It's okay.
It's okay. We will live.
Yeah.
Okay, Sergio, no, I don't think I answered this question yet. It says that he usually takes his guitar to a luthier every 7 months. Still, is it necessary to use cleaning items like fingerboard cleaners, string cleaners, guitar polishers? Yes, I'll answer for you, Wayne. Yes, you need to. You need to, because a good-looking guitar will make you want to play it.
Yep.
Right?
And maintenance is important, like self-maintenance, not just bringing it for a setup,
All right. So Guenter has a question that I also, I had a bit of experience in it, but I'll let you answer. What's the difference in sound comparing through a neck-through body as opposed to a bolt-on or a set-in? What's the difference? Better sustain?
Better sustain, yes, but I think for bolt-ons and set neck, neck-through guitars, not set neck. I think the word here is spank. Like a bolt-on guitar is very spanky sounding. It's got this quack, and I don't want to use this word because it doesn't really apply to most bolt-on guitars, but a natural twang. Like bolt-on guitars have this twang to it. Whether it's like a Strat or a Tele or Ibanez even, like if it's bolt-on, you strum it acoustically, there is this snap, there's this spankiness to it. Whereas like set neck guitars, right, they tend to lose that. I find. I mean, I don't have anything against set neck guitars or neck through guitars. I don't really have anything against neck through guitars, but I just feel that that's a bit lacking in the neck through guitars. But of course, I mean, the sustain is phenomenal. It just sustains for days. Yeah, you can hold a note. It's like it just goes on forever for neck throughs.
What are some of the neck throughs that you worked on?
Ibanez. I've worked on a lot of Ibanez neck through guitars.
These are guitars and not basses, right? Guitars, right?
Guitars, right? Yeah. So Ibanez guitars are some of the neck through ones that I've worked on. Some Luthier made ones. I can't remember the brand, but I think it was European Luthier made actually. So there's this other brand. Let me just try to remember. Yeah, you remember any neck through guitars that we worked on recently? Not really. Yeah, I mean, we don't get a lot of neck throughs in here these days. I mean, but back when I was working in the guitar shop, right, I worked on quite a bit of neck throughs. A lot of neck through flying V's actually, like metal guitars. BC Rich.
Yeah.
BC Rich. I worked on a lot of the older BC Rich neck through guitars.
We don't hear much about BC Rich anymore, right?
Yeah,
it used to be so popular. Yeah, it used to be so popular, with that weird shape, and they were great looking guitars. Yeah. Okay, Jack the Rabbit. By the way, Wayne, Jack the Rabbit is a accomplished songwriter.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Hi, Jack.
Yeah, he's a great songwriter. What does mahogany seems to have? Why does mahogany seems to have more natural compression than other standard guitar woods?
Why? Mahogany has this thing called mid hump to it naturally. So I think for like mahogany guitars, right, the natural mid hump gives you that feeling of the natural compression. Natural compression is something that I would say I don't really know how to pinpoint the real meaning behind natural compression, because compression is something that you add onto the guitar. But just direct, whether electric or acoustic, mahogany has this mid spike to it in the frequency spectrum of the guitar. So most people would tend to think that, oh yeah, it's got a natural compression, and that's the reason why I find mahogany guitars have natural compression, because of the wood's natural characteristics of the mids. Yeah, it's just a wood with a lot of mids. Like people always say, I like scoop mids, but mahogany is like a mid hump. Like it's like woof, it just goes up like that.
Right. So, in regards to this woods, okay, this is different woods. You have basswood, mahogany, alder, swamp ash, and now there's this new thing that Gina has released, Akuma, right?
Okume, yeah.
Okume or whatever. So all these woods have different grades, right? You have different grades of mahogany, you have different grades of basswood, because some basswood just doesn't sound the same as another basswood guitar,
Yeah.
right? So there are different grades.
Grades. The grading system, right, is actually more of a lumberyard thing. For
Oh, wait. How about basswood from Indonesia as opposed to basswood in Japan?
Okay, basswood from Indonesia, basswood from Japan, essentially they are pretty much the same thing, but end of the day, it's how the wood is being processed, the dryness of the wood, the density of the wood, fresh from the tree itself. Like if let's say the wood from the tree itself is already heavy, and then you dry it out, it's still going to be a heavy piece of wood. But if the wood is light and then you dry it out, it becomes lighter. So those are actually some of the things that people use to grade the woods with, like density, the wood grains, moisture content, things like that. So that's the real main difference for woods, actually, for grading.
All right. So in my experience, I had a mahogany guitar from Harley Benton, and I tried a couple of mahogany guitars from Martin, and they are like, drastically different, right? So obviously the mahogany are different, cut from different regions. But I'm suspecting that it's the varnish, or rather the coating that they have, the finishes that they have, because the mahogany guitars from Martin are in fact not actually coated at all. They are like, they're not finished like really thick urethane or anything, or whatever you have, polyester or anything like that. But the Harley Benton ones are really, they kind of slap everything on, so it's like really,
plastic.
Yeah, it's like really glossy, and I mean, looking at it, it looks really nice, shining and all that. But I can tell the difference because it just doesn't sound as good as the ones by Martin. So
Yeah.
Does finishes affect the tone?
Of course, this one I will actually insist that finishes do affect the tone a lot. So, it's a very simple concept. Like when you play guitar, right? What's going on? Your strings are vibrating. So when your wood is actually with a thick layer of like polyurethane, polyester kind of finish, you kind of dampen the vibration on the wood itself. So when your strings vibrate, right, it doesn't have its full potential when there's a big coat of lacquer that's like really, really thick and plasticky. Whereas like if you compare it to like Gibson or Martin or even Fender, like the reissues, right, they're using nitrocellulose. There's a reason why these companies still stick to nitrocellulose after all these years. Nitrocellulose, like in the finishing, like in the industrial finishing industry, right, is outdated already. Like nobody even talks about nitrocellulose anymore. So in Singapore, right, nitrocellulose to most layman uncles, they call it lacquer. Yeah, right. So like
Lacquer.
you go to a furniture shop and then you ask the gentleman in the shop and say, "Oh, can I have like a lacquered table?" Right?
Because I want to get high.
Not because you want to get high, but like you ask for like a lacquer table, right? Like most people don't even talk about like lacquer anymore. They'll just say, "Oh, this is epoxy coated," because like it looks better, it's more durable,
All right, so
it's the same thing with guitars.
So this so-called lacquer opposed to the polyurethane and the polyester. Okay, what's the difference? In layman's term.
Polyurethane is like plastic. Polyester is like plastic. It's thick. Whereas like nitrocellulose lacquer, it's very thin, so
It seeps
it
into
lets
the
your
wood.
wood breathe. No, actually on a more molecular level, it's actually porous. So your wood can actually breathe. Your wood can actually vibrate and resonate more. That's why when you say that, you actually feel a difference when you play like a Harley Benton mahogany and like a Martin mahogany, right?
Gotcha.
That's the main difference that most of our ears are listening to.
Gotcha. You see?
Yeah.
I learn something new every day. Thank you, Dr. Wayne.
Anytime. Not doctor lah. Just a guitar repair man and a luthier.
Anyway, there's another comment that says that we are both father and son. All right, so, well, anyway, we Chinese have this custom of being like being a godson and me being a godfather, but not the Mario Puzo type. Just like Chinese say 干爹.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna say hi to a couple of guys. Hello, Hex Dyer from France. Oh, comment allez-vous? Hi, Ian. Ian is from London, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and Alan, yeah, and Long is here. Yin Long is here. So
Hi, Ying Long.
yeah, so Yin Long is actually the one of the bosses in City Music. City Music is the shop that actually supply me with a whole lot of bunch of stuff like amplifiers and guitars, for me to review. And yeah, they actually are very supportive to local musicians. So if you can, say hi to Yin Long. And hi Dennis, how are you? Yeah. Well, we have a lively bunch of people here. So it's Saturday night. Nobody's going clubbing because all the clubs are closed. So
Sad.
yeah, we strike it when it's hot. So right. So my next question to you is not actually a question. It's a if some of you guys, if you have subscribed to my channel, you've probably seen this guitar before. Right. So this is a Harley Benton ST62, and it actually came in with a anodized pickguard, But these pickups are not the stock. These pickups are from Wayne. If you have seen the video, you will know that I name it as Wayne's Mojo, or rather Wayne's less noisy pickups. And he did a real good job at this. And I just watched the video like a couple hours ago, and I was still impressed with it. It still sounds great. Although I haven't played this guitar for a long time. So you want to tell me a little bit about these pickups that you fix onto my guitar, Wayne?
Yeah, so these pickups that I fixed on your guitar, right, I kind of voiced them off an original vintage set of 59 Strat pickups actually. In fact, those pickups that were modeled off for your this guitar was actually in this guitar right here in the corner. So
okay.
Yeah, I actually modeled it off an actual set of vintage Fender pickups. And for me, like as a live player, as a live musician for years, right, one of the biggest problems that I get from my sound man was like, hey Wayne, your guitar is too noisy. Like you play with a lot of gain, but it's too noisy because it's single coil. Like change to EMVs or something. So this was something that bothered me. Even after I changed to EMVs, right, it bothered me for a really long time because EMVs got a great character of their own. Don't get me wrong. I love how EMVs sound, but it just something is still missing from a real true single coil. So I think over the years I talked to you about it, Uncle John. So you talked to me about it, like you wanted like a real sounding Strat pickup with no noise, and it kind of stuck in my head for years. And then I decided like, all right, like I finished school already. I learned how to do all these things properly. Trying to get myself working and like into designing this product itself. So I spent a bit of time to like come up with the design and the technical part of the pickup, and I was actually really happy with the result. The irony is I still don't have a set made for myself yet. Yeah.
So have you like done any improvements to them?
Yes, actually. I think you have a video on the improved version. It's the 64 noiseless that I did for Jeff.
Oh yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah.
That was the bigger improvement from this piece that you have actually in terms of the noiseless system. That one I actually managed to get rid of more noise and still retain the tone.
All noise?
Not all, but more noise.
More noise, like, okay.
There is still a bit of noise still. I mean, it's more of gain noise rather than a single coil hum,
Alright.
Yeah, it's gain hiss. I'll call it. It's more of a hiss rather than a hum now.
So are the output the same as this one? Because this one has a 5.9K for the neck and the middle, and a 6.7 for the bridge. So is the new improved version the same output, or?
Outputs are all the same. The only thing that's different is the noiseless system that's in there. I actually put a bit more inductance on the noiseless system to get rid of more noise, but at the same time still retain the presence that you have on the single coil pickup.
Right.
Which is one thing that I found lacking in a lot of these stacked pickups that are available on the market today. Yeah.
Right. So tell me a little bit about, or tell us a little bit about the Anico. Is there Anico 1?
No Anico 1.
2?
2 yes. There is
Three?
Anico 2.
3?
3 yes.
4?
4 yes.
5?
5 all the way up till 8.
8, okay.
And
so what are the differences?
Recently, right, I think there is Alnico 9 now. Yeah,
so what are the differences?
It's the percentage of aluminum, nickel, and cobalt in the magnet itself. So, like Alnico 3, right, has almost little to almost no cobalt inside. It's mostly aluminum and nickel. Alnico 2 has more aluminum and cobalt, much less nickel. Yeah, so those are the main differences in the grading of Alnicos.
Mm.
And of course, different Alnico models have different kind of tonal response.
So what's with the new Alnico 9?
To be honest, I haven't heard much about it, man. But all I know is that it's very close to these kind of magnets called neodymium magnets.
New diamond?
Neodymium, yeah. Neodymium magnets,
Sweet
yeah.
Caroline. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So no, lah, not. So okay, tell me the difference between Alnicos and ceramic. Oh, we're talking about magnets here, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay, Alnicos and ceramics are definitely on their own, right, much hotter than Alnicos. Those actually have a hotter response, higher resonant peak as well on the pickups as well. So, which is why a lot of people tend to have this conception that ceramic pickups are very powerful. But if it's paired correctly, like if you put the right amount of coils, it may not necessarily be a bad thing, which I think you know. Your Fender Japan is ceramic.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, shouting out.
Yeah. And it sounds good.
So does the GNL, right? The MFDs?
Yeah, the GNL MFDs are ceramic magnets as well.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Jack. Yeah, for that. Yeah, I'm gonna buy you coffee too, Wayne. This is also for your time.
When circuit breaker ends.
Yeah. Thank you, Jack. For the super chat thing. Okay, another question is wait, am I done with that question? With the question about our ceramics?
Magnets.
Yeah, so ceramics, as far as tonal qualities are concerned, right? I just recently did a review on the Fullerton Deluxe, the GNL Fullerton Deluxe, the Legacy, which I told Long about this, which I texted him this afternoon. I told him that this is one of the best sounding Strat I ever played, and he says that's a serious compliment. But it's a fact, you know. It's just the way it sounded, you know. And we're not talking about the GNL quality as far as the necks are concerned. It's just the tone, you know. So how I arrived to in that opinion is because I watch my videos all the time, like I said many times ago, and I've heard it and I said, wow, this guitar really sounded good. And if I'm not mistaken, these are Alnico 5 pickups, but then they have a humbucker at the end, and I don't know what material they are using for that. Now, opposed to the MFD ceramic pickups, right? So you have the Alnico 5s, you have the ceramic. I find that the ceramic has a little bit more of a mid-range, and the Alnicos have a little bit of a scoop in the mid-range. So this is, as far as tonal differences, that's me, okay, that's me. What do you think?
I agree actually. So, but for Alnico 5s, I wouldn't say it's a scoop. I think Alnico 5s are very much balanced in terms of the EQ. Maybe what you're hearing in terms of the scoop is, it could be the way it's coiled actually. Like if the pickups are coiled in a certain way, or they're using certain materials for the coil wire, for example, you get different kind of tone result from Alnico 5s. But generally, I find Alnico 5s to be a good, strong, powerful magnet that gives you a very balanced tone, like enough lows, enough mids, enough highs, enough presence.
All right. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So it's more about the winding.
Yeah, it's more of the winding pattern, the type of coil that they use, the pole piece diameters. There's a lot of factors that go into a pickup actually.
Can you do me a favor? Can you just go back and check the video that I did for the Legacy, and try to get me the same sound, and then wind one set for me?
Okay. I try. No
when you have time. Yeah. In no rush at all. Right. So, what's your plan in regards to pickups? Are you going to start making pickups? But we're talking about next year, right? Not this year. We're talking about next year.
Actually, this year I wanted to launch my hand-mount pickup line officially. So, thanks to your video, I have got a lot of inquiries from all over the world. But unfortunately, I haven't had.
That's 20%. That's 20% off.
Yeah. So. 20% in pickup stock. Yeah, no, but unfortunately, I haven't had time to really sit down and wind. So, during this whole lockdown period, I was actually focusing a lot on the Telecaster pickups that I've developed actually. So, for my Telecaster pickups, they are kind of based off actual vintage pieces. So, I just finished a 1950 broadcaster reproduction set,
Wow.
and the next set will be a 51 Nocaster, and then would be my standard model for Telecasters. It's called the 5254. So these are actually modeled off a few sets of actual 52 and 52, 53, and 54 Telecaster pickups. In terms of spec, in terms of sound, in terms of coil winding patterns, magnet diameters. So those are actually the things that I'm working on. And also I'll be releasing my PAF pickup as well. So spend a lot of time and R&D on the PAF as well, because it's something that every guitar player out there seems to want, like a good set of PAF pickups, a PAF.
Yeah. That's something I'm actually like looking forward to also, because I'm been planning to change the pickups for my Les Paul.
Les Paul, right? Yeah.
But I'm actually very happy with my Tokai. The humbuckers of my Tokai, they sound actually real great. So I
think those are the Tokai stock pickups.
Yeah. All right. Let's answer a bit more questions. This is from Dennis. Already know, from Guitar, Music, and Life. Can you explain? He says he has a Wilkinson stack P90s, and he has 3 of them on his guitar. I can change the tone with adjusting the tone control.
I think you can do that with any guitar.
Yeah, you can. You can actually do that with any guitars. So okay, there's this tone control, right? Yeah, you can actually do that. So yes, Ian says thank you, Wayne, for spending time with us. Could you give us an idea of what the magnetic wire gauge does to a pickup sound, which we just talked about, the wire gauge. Right.
Okay, so the gauge of coil wires, right? They range from anywhere from 42 I've even seen pickups with 46 gauge wire, 46.5 even. Like, the thing about pickup wires is it's a bit different. Like, you would think that, like the bigger the number, the bigger your wire is, right? For pickup magnet wires, it's a bit different. So the bigger the number, the smaller your wire is actually. So I would say the biggest difference in terms of sound, right, would be your output. So 42 example would be your standard Telecaster, your humbucker, vintage output humbucker pickup sound. But as your wires go thinner, right, you go hotter and hotter and hotter. So example like 43 wire would be much hotter than the 42, and 44 will be like, I'll give you an example. Like Simon Duncan has a pickup called the Invader. Yeah, it's that kind of output, like Invader, Screaming Demon, and things like that. Those are very, very high output pickups, right? So yeah, using very thin wire actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But
so
a lot of winding.
Yeah. So thinner wire means you can wind more rounds.
Yeah.
So with more rounds, you get a hotter output.
Cool. Now I got that. Now I understand. Okay. Let me see now what we have. High axis. Alan says ceramics are too harsh to his ears. Right. Like I said, every one of us have our own tonal preferences. I'm not saying that all ceramic pickups are good, because ceramic pickups actually have a problem with the ice pick thing. So if you pick the guitar strings in a certain way, you get this irritating ice pick, and that is synonymous with ceramic pickups, I guess. Wayne, are you working on P90 soap bars reduced noise pickup?
Yes, I am actually. Regular standard soap bar P90s, I am working on them right now actually. So I actually have 6 sample sets at the moment, but I haven't wound them yet. So when I get to them, I'll let Uncle John know. Yeah, and you'll probably get to
20%.
You'll probably get to hear the samples on the guitar as well.
So you are planning to do your custom line of pickups as well as your guitars, right? Pickups and guitars. So the guitars, I guess, will take a little bit longer.
Guitars, actually, to be honest, I wanted to do all of these things, and I had them all planned for 2020. Everything is ready already. Unfortunately, with the whole COVID, the pandemic happening, during the whole lockdown period, I was just down to one person myself doing all the repairs. So I had to neglect all my build plans and plans to build and all. So at the moment, I think I don't have the capacity to do all the builds and custom stuff at the moment. So I'm focusing more on the pickups and clearing the repairs that I have over here right now with me. I think that's the bigger priority now. Yeah, but of course, designs are all ready. It's just about just sitting down to make them. I don't have the time at the moment to make the instruments, but I still do have time to make pickups. Yeah, because pickups don't actually take that much time as compared to building a guitar from scratch.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just hope that you continue to make pickups because I think there is there's a need for for not so expensive guitars pickups that is available in the market because some of them are really priced too high.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you, Long, for your coffee again. Especially cup of coffee though, but thank you.
Starbucks.
Yeah. Okay, Thomas is here. Thomas E. So say hi to
Hi,
Uncle Thomas. Good Thomas. All right. Got a couple questions here. Okay. Ian says thank you for making him less confused.
Anytime.
Jack, I have two guitars with ceramic because I don't like them. They are hard but I don't like the tones. Okay, so you just don't like ceramic pickups. All right, cool. Jack the Rabbit, where do we get Wayne's guitar? Can we pre-order them? Will he ship to the US? Any plans?
Yeah, I'll ship to the US. I'll build anything eventually. Hopefully I get to start everything like proper production in 2021. So I initially planned to do it all in 2020, but I think in most of us, our calendar 2020 is like right off already. Like 2020 is non-existent year. Like we just skip the year and move forward to 2021.
Yeah, that's bad. Oh, thank you, Leonard. Thank you, Leonard, for his super chat. Another cup of coffee. So we're gonna have overdose of coffee very soon.
Caffeine high, man.
Yeah. Dennis, I have a kit guitar that I'm wanting to upgrade my P90s on. I'll be looking for them when you are ready. Okay, so you have the first pre-order here.
Nice.
For your P90s. So
Dennis can just drop me an email.
Yeah, I'll put Wayne's email on the info section and in this live chat. So anytime you guys want whether inquiry or just want to give him a couple of $1 million to do some research R&D, feel free to go ahead.
I'm happy to accept.
What? See, now I lost my train of thoughts. What was about? I ask you something else. Oh man, now you come back to me. So, Orion, have you experimented with silver wiring?
Like actual silver, no. Because Seymour Duncan is already doing that, and silver magnet wire is very expensive to buy. You're talking about like pure silver, If I'm not wrong, Seymour Duncan has a model called the Zephyr Pickups. Those are actually wound with silver wire. Yeah. I can't really remember how the thing sounds like. I've got to watch them again, but I remember I wasn't it's like, okay, yeah, but I'm not paying that kind of money for silver wire to be on a pickup. I think it's more of a what's the word I'm looking for, man? It's more of a ego thing, like oh, I got silver wire pickups, yeah.
Yeah, but then werewolves won't be able to play the guitars.
Yeah, werewolf vampires, they can't even go near,
Yeah. So my question was about the P90s. Now, can you explain this question that's been bugging me for the longest time? So what actually are P90s? Are they a fatter single coil, or what are they actually?
It's pretty much a single coil, like what you said, it's a fat single coil. So single coil pickups sound like single coil pickups because of the way it's shaped, the design, the amount of coils that go on them. P90s sound like P90s because of the size, the kind of magnets, the construction of the pickup actually, in fact. So P90s are kind of like in between of a humbucker and a single coil in terms of construction, if you want to put it in further detail. But essentially, it's a single coil. You only have one coil on the pickup.
Okay, but they tend to be very noisy.
Yeah, P90s tend to be very noisy, which is why I'm kind of developing the noiseless one.
So are they more noisier than the single coils?
Oh, P90s are very noisy. So even in without reverse wound, reverse polarity, just direct into a guitar amp, a tube guitar amp, a P90 will actually be noisy in clean. Even in clean, there's this sound going on in the back. Yeah. And
that's maybe one of the reasons why I stay away from P90s for the longest time.
Yeah, they've got a nice character in the sound though,
Yeah, they do. I must admit that they do. But then again, noise is something that is a deterrent
Yeah.
to me especially.
Mhm.
All right, so what do we have here? Okay, so they're talking about a $1,000 USD pickups with a silver wiring, I guess.
I think that's it's 300 over US per piece if I'm not wrong. So yeah, it kind of works up to about 1,000 US for a set, for like a set
Oh,
of three
that's
single
that's
coil.
that's crazy. That's crazy.
The Simon Duncan Zephyr pickups,
Wow.
silver coil. Yeah, I think Orion Quest. I'm curious about using silver wire for the guitar harness. Okay, so to be honest, silver wire does improve your signal flow and signal strength, but I'll be really honest with you. I cannot really hear a tonal difference in terms of like the types of wire that you use inside the guitar. Actually, yeah. I've heard some of the guys from the older generation talk to me like, oh, you use like shielded wire for the internal wiring of the guitar. I mean, you say like, it looks kind of like this shielded wire. So yeah, like if you use shielded wire, you actually have more highest response and things like that. So to some extent, yes, you have that, but so different material and insulations, I think that doesn't really affect how the sound will come out. End of the day, it's just resistance. Wire itself, in its essence, is just resistance in the circuit. So having a different type of wire or a different material of wire will just give you a different resistance reading. And resistance doesn't really do much in terms of sound at that level. Like you're talking about not even like kilo ohms. You're just talking about like maybe 10 or 20 ohms difference, and 10 or 20 ohms doesn't really translate into audible difference. Yeah, I can't really hear it. Yeah, exactly.
All right, Jack Collins. Yeah, thank you. Your wife calls me Magic Fingers. Her name is Dorothy. Hi, Dorothy. How are you? All right. So another question. From let me see now. If there's any question I haven't answered yet, feel free to post it again. Okay, so Guitar Music and Live says that P90 stacks are noiseless, but they are ceramics. Have you ever experienced with P90 stacks?
The Wilkinson?
Uh-huh.
No, I actually haven't had any personal experience with that, but Wilkinson pickups in general are pretty decent actually for the price point for what they are selling for. Because Wilkinson pickups, I mean, in Korea, cost of labor is cheaper as compared to like American-made pickups, and of course the material cost is also cheaper. But I've never had any personal experience with it, so I can't really comment on the Wilkinson stack pickups. But for Wilkinson single coils, Wilkinson humbuckers, those are pretty decent. They're all right. Like I won't say anything like special about them, but it's all right. Sounds good.
All right. So Jack Collins is asking, how much do you charge for a brand new guitar, like to make a new guitar? What do you reckon the cost would be?
Usually, I think the base price that I start off with is around 3,500 Sing dollars. Yeah, so it ranges anywhere from there onwards. And with the thing about custom guitars is I have a lot of like custom requests for wood. Like they will want one piece swamp ash, one piece alder body, Madagascar rosewood, roasted maple, roasted flame maple, roasted quarter saw maple. All those things all add up to the cost of the build itself, and finishing as well. Depending on what kind of colors I did one build for a local musician. I think you also know him, Uncle John, Simon.
Yeah.
It's like last year I did a build for him. It was a very unique build. It was a roasted alder body, roasted for body. So it was the first time working with roasted alder for me, and he wanted to paint the body white over sunburst, like a vintage Fender. So it's sunburst underneath and then white over that. So
but why have it roasted in the first place? Because we wanted roasted because of the texture of the wood, right?
No, roasted actually does other things. It lightens the wood as well. So
yeah,
makes it more light, makes it more resonant. So roasted and then painted over with double color, and then roasted maple neck and stainless steel frets. So these are all the little things that I would say add up to the cost of the instrument. And my own pickups, my own tuners. Actually, I had some tuners specially made with Koto for my builds actually. So these are like your 510 tuners, your Goto 510, but they're made of aluminum. I think you have a set of those actually, Uncle John, on your strap.
My
on
Japan,
your old,
my Japan, old Japan strap.
The old Sanders Japanese strap, yeah, those have the
those are
tuners.
good
So
tuners. Yeah, those are good.
those are
tuners.
super lightweight actually. It's made of aluminum.
And they're locking, right?
Unlike,
They're locking tuners.
Yep, they're locking.
So it come again. How much is it? 3,000.
3,500 Sing.
3,500. Okay, Google.
Yeah.
What is 3,005 Singapore dollars in US dollars?
3,005 Singapore dollars is approximately 2,154 United States
Okay,
dollars and 12 cents.
it's roughly around 2,001 USD.
Yeah, 2,100 US.
All right. Okay, so, oh, that's cool.
No, Edward says it's 2,500. It's not 2,100.
Oh, it's 2,500?
Yeah, wait, let me just. Yeah, it's 2,500 US.
Yeah, it's 2,500 US. Okay, so my
Yeah.
bad. That is like 21 for him, and the rest is mine. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. What? Jason, the bedroom guitarist. How are you? I have a brand new Squire. Okay, cool. Good for you. Any suggestion for a bridge replacement for a Squire?
Squire bridge replacement. So there is Goto has a product. It's the Goto 510 NS bridge. NS means narrow space. So on all these Squire import guitars, the spacing for the bridge is actually narrower than your standard Fender spacing. So standard Fender is like 2 and 3/16. This one is 2 and 1/8 of an inch. So that's actually a drop-in fit for the Squire. So you just have to unscrew the bridge, pop it in, and then boom, you're good. So the Goto 510 NS, that one to answer Jason's question.
All right, cool. All right. Access is like, yeah, okay. It's okay.
Yeah, I think Alan did say a very good point. As a hi-fi engineer, experience tells me that expensive wiring doesn't always mean a better sound quality. That I agree. Exactly. Yeah, it doesn't mean that you have the most expensive wires, unless you're talking like from the point of view of an audiophile, like those guys who listen to nice hi-fi tube systems with like their records and nice preamps and all. In those settings, you will actually hear difference in terms of the wire. Like audiophile power cables can range to really, really expensive. Like I've never seen like your regular IEC cable that audiophiles use can cost easily anywhere onwards of $200 for an IEC cable, a power cable that you use for your computer. $200 over for one cable.
Yep, I know some of these people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are some of these people, they are actually guitarists. So these are the guitarists that will buy monster cables, with gold plating and stuff like that,
Yeah.
Anyway. Leonard asks, Comforter Spirit says, by using conductive paint on all the cavities and grounding it properly, would it bring down the noise for the P90 pickups by a lot?
Of course. Yeah, but there's one thing that I would say I see way too often. So I see a lot of guys who do shielding. I see a lot of guys who do conductive paint inside, but they don't ever put the ground wire from the conductive paint on the shielding onto the back of the pot. So if you don't do that, you don't close the circuit, and it's deemed useless, if you don't do that. So all of this conductive paint shielding, it actually helps a lot with noise. But you have to ground the thing to your pot or to anywhere, any metal component on the instrument at least, to close the circuit up. So basically what you do when you're doing grounding and shielding, right? Shielding of cavities with conductive paint or copper shielding even, you're creating this thing called a Faraday cage. Faraday cage is something that prevents electromagnetic interference from coming in through. So that's getting rid of your noise. Hey, nice light, Uncle John. I noticed it.
Just to check on you, whether you're paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, Faraday cage. Yeah, you were saying, right?
Yep. So important thing is just make sure you have a wire that goes onto your ground.
Right. What are the questions you have? Like, okay, I'm going to indulge in Access a bit. Access says that talking about Guitar Zen and how he loses himself when he's playing and stuff like that. I think a lot of us do that. We get into this zone when we are playing, and sometimes it gets so bad that I start to drool. Have you guys ever done that before? Like,
Oh, yeah, it happens to me sometimes.
bending and then
Yeah.
yeah, that happens to me a lot of time when I was young. So, so this is like getting into the zone. Yeah, anyway. Okay, so Jack Collins is interested, so he stays in Louisiana. So you gotta find ways to ship it to him if he's
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
If he's on, huh?
Ask him his action.
Huh?
String action
String action.
for him. His Uncle John string action.
You message on the thing and ask. I think Orion Quest had a good question actually. Can a twisted warp neck be saved without
Oh yes,
paying the fretboard?
can a twisted warp neck be saved without what? Planing
Planing.
planing the
Yeah.
fretboard. Can it?
It depends on what kind of wood. So if it's a rosewood or an ebony neck, or rather, I think a better description would be a two-piece neck. So if your neck is made of two pieces of wood, right, there are ways to actually solve a twist or a warp without actually planing the fretboard. So what happens is what a lot of luthiers do and what a lot of people do actually, but it's not very common practice, is to heat the neck up. So when you heat the neck up, right, you actually heat it up to a temperature that's hot enough to not even char the wood, but to soften the glue between the fretboard and the neck, the core of the neck itself. So what happens is after you soften the glue on there, right, after you turn off the heater, it actually sets the thing back into a zero position, a new zero position, which should be straight there on or forward. But if it's a one-piece neck, right, there is no real way to straighten a twist or a warp unless you plane down the fretboard. Sometimes twists and warps come from humidity issues as well. So one of the easiest things that you can do for yourself is dry out the guitar. Try to dry it out until it's at the right humidity constantly, like let's say you're living in an area where the humidity is like 85%, for example, and then ideally for your guitars, I will always recommend anywhere between 50 to 65%. In the US, however, I usually recommend 45 to 55. So depending on where you are, right? So one of the easier steps is try to get your guitar back into its ideal humidity state and see if that actually fixes itself. Because wood tends to fix itself if the humidity is right. So I think that's to answer Orion's question.
All right. Hi, Chris. Chris is another good guitarist. He's Christopher. What is his name? Buenjave. He's from from the Philippines. So it says, does Wayne get a lot of refrets to stainless steel or nickel, or nickel, or is nickel still in demand?
I get a lot of requests for stainless steel actually, but I tend to try to stay away from them or reject them unless the owner really wants to get it done, because stainless steel isn't cheap. Stainless steel is very expensive to do for refrets actually, and I usually tend to do nickel more than stainless steel because nickel is more affordable. I'll say it's still not cheap, but it's definitely more affordable than stainless steel. And reason why I charge so much for stainless steel is because it takes me 5 times as long to do a stainless steel refret than a nickel refret. Yeah. So
Why?
It's very hard to work with. Stainless steel is super hard. So like even simple things like setting the frets into the fretboard, getting the frets leveled, it just takes a much longer time than I would do with nickel. Like even like with the fret dress, for a nickel fret, maybe it takes me about anywhere between like 2 to 5 minutes to dress one fret for nickel, whereas like stainless steel, I can spend up to like 20 minutes to dress that one fret. Yeah, because it's very hard and you need to get rid of all the scratches and make it nice and shiny, mirror shine,
So it'd be good like if you can find a stainless steel fret fitted to an original guitar from the store, right? It's actually better to buy it from the shop.
It makes more sense to just buy a guitar already with stainless steel frets.
Rather than have them refret.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, well that's good to know. Hello, Larry Harris from Germany. Okay, and a couple of new guys. In any case, Jack is interested in your guitar, so he'll probably contact you when the time comes.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah.
Edward had a question just now. Edward asked me a question.
Which Edward? Your Edward.
Edward over here, he asked me a question. How high is your action, Uncle John?
How high is... Well, Wayne should know. Wayne fixed most of my guitars. They used to be pretty high.
they used to be very, very high.
Yeah.
But I think Uncle John lowered them.
Yeah, I kind of
Yeah.
lowered them substantially because I'm
It's
growing
tiring
older.
to play, really.
Growing older.
Yeah.
Age is catching up, so you don't have that much. The thing is that because I like higher actions because it makes it easier to bend, especially when you're doing a lot of overbends. And also the tone is a little bit different. You get less, when the action is too low, you kind of hit the frets every now and then, if you're playing it really aggressively, and that kind of like, it just plays a little bit of a difference in tone. So I like to have them not that high, but high enough so that they avoid touching the frets when they are played aggressively. That's my logic. I'm weird.
If it works, it works.
Yeah. Yeah. So Axis agree with you. The nickel is actually more.
Malleable.
Yeah. It's
Much more malleable.
So Jack says I had an Ibanez with stainless steel tray for a guitar for a US Strat. I didn't like the stainless steel frets. Yeah. Well, everyone has their own preferences. I've learned to adapt and overcome through the years. I could play all sorts of necks, U shape, D shape, whatever shape I could adapt. Stainless steel frets. When I first received my first guitar from Harley Benton that was fitted with stainless steel frets, I was like, But it turned out okay. In fact, I have no problem with them, and the fact remains that they are more hardy than the nickel ones, so I don't have to think about refracting them in the near future. Right. All right. So one more questions for you, and then not one more question. A couple more questions that I need to ask you. So when we have a guitar that we just bought this guitar from the shop, right? And apart from the obvious things that you see in the guitar, like the strings are all gunky, they've been in the shop for many months. You need to change the strings, right? So we're talking about going to a shop and picking up, say for Guitar Center or somewhere else in the States. You pick up a guitar from the shop. Now, chances are sometimes you might have a same model in stock right in the back in the storeroom, right? But the guitar that you tried was the guitar that was hanging on the shelf,
right?
And the reason why you buy the guitar is because you are happy with that guitar,
right?
What would you think? Do you think you rather opt for a brand new guitar that is in the storehouse or in the storeroom behind, or will you just go for the one that you just played?
I'll take the one that I tried now. Obviously, like I wouldn't want to forsake the piece that I tried if I fell in love with it already. Like if the guitar that I was trying in the store, whether it's a showroom piece or not, speaks to me, then that's the one I want. I don't want them to go into the bag and say, "Oh yeah, let me grab you a new one." Like no, like I don't want that. I had personal experience actually when I was in LA. Right, I went to a smaller guitar shop, quite a prominent shop in Koreatown actually. It's called All in One Music. So I bought a cheap Seagull parlor guitar from the shop. I had to pick out, I think the owner let me choose out of like 4 pieces because he had the shipment just come in. So I tried all 4 pieces and then I picked the one that I want. And then he was like, "Oh, you sure you don't want a new piece?" It's like this one just came in, it's new enough, so I'll take the piece that I want because that's the one that I actually like, So for people who are buying guitars out there, I would advise them, if you try something already, just take the one that you tried. Don't bother with them going to the back because it may not really speak to you the same way that the one that you tried spoke to you.
Well, I guess a lot of parents, when they are buying guitars for their kids, they will do that, right?
Yeah, they'll want the nice new one for the kids. But I mean, like, this is just some personal advice. I mean, I'm not going to stop the parents from going to the shops and asking for a new piece, because I mean, to each his own. But my own personal mentality towards this is I'll just buy the one that I like already.
So yeah. I did a video about what do you do when you have a new guitar that came in from the shop? What sort of setup should you do? What do you think you should the first thing that you should do when you get a brand new guitar and it's at home now, before you even start playing on it? What do you think the first setup should be?
If Of course, I mean, ideally, if you can afford it, I mean, get the guitar properly set up. You know, get a guitar set up professionally done once. Because doing it once will do you a benefit in a long time to come. However, if my budget is a constraint, right? Some of the main things that I'll say is, of course, replace the strings to new strings first, and then go online, go to YouTube, check the internet, learn how to adjust your own truss rod. So this is one big thing that I would say a lot of my customers have a fear with. No one likes to mess with their own truss rod in fear of breaking them, because truss rods can be very fragile actually. Yeah, if you're not careful with it, and especially if you're inexperienced, you end up turning the rod, like you turn and turn and turn and turn, and then all of a sudden it goes tight and it's pop, it breaks. So when the truss rod breaks, that's a big issue.
Have you encountered like broken truss rods often?
Yeah, I actually have a few jobs with broken truss rods at the moment. So difficult job, very very labor intensive actually. You gotta remove the whole fretboard, take out the old broken truss rod, replace it with a new truss rod, glue back the fretboard, do the frets, so on and so on. So, but some of the main things that I'll say and advice is change your strings, learn how to adjust your own truss rod first, and then see how it works for you from there on. If it still bothers you, then maybe bring to a shop and get, if budget is constrained again, get the minimal things done, like lowering the saddle for an acoustic guitar. Or learn how to do basic saddle adjustments on YouTube. I mean, like these days it's very easy. You've got the internet available, you know. You can just go on YouTube and search how to set up a guitar. Of course, I mean, I won't expect everyone out there to have their own set of tools, but I mean, basic things like an Allen key usually is included when you buy the guitar. Yeah, like when you buy a brand new guitar, it should usually come with a truss rod Allen key, and if it's an electric guitar, you should have a saddle height Allen key usually. Yeah.
Great.
So at least it gives you the freedom to mess with it yourself.
So there's this question which I missed out by Fat Cat 187 or Fat Cat 87. It says, in what situation would you recommend a fret redress over a refretting?
When the fret life is still good.
All right.
So meaning to say, like, if your fret life isn't bad, I will recommend a fret dress. But if your fret life is bad, like if you have got very bad divots and dings on your frets from playing wear, right, that I would feel that you don't have enough life to dress them down anymore, then I'll advise for a refret.
All right.
But particularly for acoustic guitars, I always almost never advise a fret dress, because usually on acoustic guitar your biggest problems are on your first to seventh frets usually, because those are where most people play on the acoustic guitar. And when the frets wear, right, because it's acoustic as well, you have higher gauge strings, so more tension. You actually eat into the frets faster, you know. So on acoustic guitars, usually I just tell my customers, hey, refret the first 3, refret the first 5, refret the first 7, and usually in odd numbers. I don't really do even number refrets. Quite weird, because of your dot inlay, you know, like the dot inlay actually.
So what if this guitarist like to play E flat, B flat?
then I'll make an exception and do 4, you know, like 4 or 6 frets, you know. But usually we do them in odd numbers based on like the dot markers. Like fret markers are usually on 3, 5, 7, 9. So usually one of the more common things I do is 5 fret refret, 7 fret refrets, 9 fret refrets. Yeah, or 12 even.
So can you explain the whole thing about neck relief?
Neck relief is basically the amount of relief that your neck has when your string tension is pulling. So when you're talking about relief, you're looking at a diagram kind of like that. So this is your neck straight, your strings are here. Relief meaning to say it has a bit of a warp like that this way. So your strings actually will be a bit loose in the middle, so it doesn't feel as tight. When you don't have enough relief, you will encounter some other problems, like if you're a hard player or heavy picker, right, you're going to get a lot of buzz or string rattle actually if you don't have relief. So relief is actually very important, and relief also facilitates with bending. If you like to do big wide bends, right, having relief is the best thing that you can imagine. So with a bit more relief, you can do big wide bends and all.
Yeah, but then again, the action will be high in the middle portion, right? Will be higher than usual, lah.
Higher than usual, but you can actually set it up so that it feels quite even actually. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So what sort of tools would you recommend a guitarist to have in his home you know, if say for example a novice guitarist just walking into this live chat, you know, he just started playing guitar, and he wants to kind of like do self maintenance on his or her guitar. What sort of tools would you recommend?
Well, I think one of the most basic things is having a set of Allen keys, both imperial and metric, in case you decide to buy a different guitar, you know. So imperial is the inch size, the size of Allen keys in inches, and metric, of course, we all know millimeters. Yeah, so it's always good to have two sets of Allen keys available, readily available, so that if you buy a new guitar and it's like, oh, American made, it's like, oh shit, I gotta use the imperial one. Yeah, or if I like buy a Japanese guitar, it's like, oh, okay, I need to use the metric one. So at least you have two sets available, readily available. Other tools that I would advise is long nose pliers and a cutter, a wire cutter actually. So wire cutters come in really handy for changing strings. Even like simple things like, if I have to like bend something in place, I can use the edge of a wire cutter to bend something back in place. Like if like a saddle comes off overbent, like a metal saddle for electric guitar, for example, I can just actually use some pressure and bend it back in. So cutters, pliers, and Allen keys, those are really bare essentials. And of course, a tuner. Always have a tuner around. Yeah.
Tuners.
You can rely on app tuners, but this is really, really cheap. Snap tuner. Yeah, this is a very, very good investment. Invest in one of these.
Yeah, tuners. Yeah. How about polishers and stuff like that? You know, what would you recommend?
I showed earlier the Music
Lemon
Nomad.
Pledge?
Music Nomad is very
this one?
good.
Okay. So instead of this, you know, this is not cheap, but you know, even though it's really
not-
good, I used
Yeah,
it.
it's not too expensive either.
Yeah.
This one, I think.
But I mean,
in
if you
comparison-
like for a guy who just started playing, then he has, you know, whatever he has in his home, like, you know, Lemon Pledge, right? Lemon Pledge will do.
Lemon Pledge is very good. Let me
Almost
grab the
everything.
bottle and show sample.
What are you doing?
Taking a sample to show
All
this one. This is very good.
right.
Comes in very handy, and you're gonna use it a lot.
Okay. So, how about pliers and stuff like that?
Pliers,
How about
any basic
stuff like
ones
this?
are
Stuff like this, you know, you got the what you call it, string
the
winders
string
and stuff
cutter
like that.
and peg winder.
Uh-huh.
This is okay. Usually I'll just advise another thing, capo. Have a capo around you as well. So, like example, if you're doing things like electronics, it's always nice to have a capo around because you can just loosen your strings, put a capo, and then take off your pick guard or take off your pickups if you need to do electronic work, basic electronic work like servicing of your ports and things like that.
Come again.
So
Use
that
a
way-
capo.
Yeah, so have a capo, convenient and handy, like something like this. So when you want to loosen your strings, right, you just loosen your strings, put a capo. That way you don't have to take off your strings when you want to service your electronics.
Oh.
Hmm.
Okay.
You get it?
No, I'm pretty slow today.
Oh, okay. So, like for example, like on a Strat, right? You want to service your pots.
Uh-huh.
Let's say you have about scratchy pots. I think someone asked a question about scratchy pots earlier.
Yeah.
So if you got scratchy pots, you got to remove your pick guard to access the potentiometer that's inside, right?
Yeah.
So, in order to access that, you got to remove your strings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So instead of removing your strings, you just loosen your strings and then put a capo, and then remove the pick guard. That way you don't have to remove your strings completely.
Why would I
So
put a
it-
capo? Because, you know, by putting a capo, the strings are still on the neck, right?
Yeah, it's still on the neck, but you can have the thing with more slack past the cable so that your pick guard can actually just slide out and you don't have to take off your strings all the way, you know.
Okay. No.
It saves
well,
saves a bit of time and
Yeah.
saves you string tangling.
Actually, I
yeah.
never actually take out all the strings actually because
You just remove the
Yeah.
few screws that
you can
you
kind
need
of
to.
maneuver everything in a way.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Okay.
that's
That
one of the
makes
things
sense.
I do. So yeah, basic things are like pliers, cutters, peg winder, set of Allen keys. That one very important.
All right. Okay.
Mm.
Cool. Well, someone asks you, Jack the Rabbit, what style of guitars do you normally build? Well, Jack the Rabbit is primarily an acoustic guitar player. Well, not really. He does play electric guitars, so I don't know what sort of guitars you want. But what do you? What's your forte?
Fender style instruments. So
Strats, tallies.
Strats, tallies with a modern take. I haven't done an offset before, so mostly it's been strats and tallies so far. Yeah, so but with a modern take to it. Lighter body, deeper contours, contour neck heels, modern hardware, modern electronics, modern wiring, things like that.
How about
Modern
bases?
fretboard radius.
How about bases?
Sorry?
Bases.
Bass, I'm actually working on a bass right now for my X bassist actually. So that one's been a long project. It's more of a jazz bass kind of thing, but it's a five string kind of jazz bass. So with some modern takes to it as well.
Alright.
Active preamp.
Okay, cool. So you want to show me any of your prototype that you have? Any guitars that
Let
you
me go pull it out.
Uh,
It's somewhere else.
go pull it out.
All right.
And you might want to take a leak if you at it.
Sure.
So how are you guys doing? Are you guys coping? I mean, in Singapore we just kind of like finish, or not really finish the lockdown. We're still on partial lockdown. Now it's less intense than it was on the earlier months. So on the 1st of June, we kind of like loosened the lockdown a little bit. So people, I mean, my daughter is coming to visit me on tomorrow, so she can finally get out of the house and visit me. So that's a good improvement, right? I hope you guys are all doing good. Okay, so this is where this is Wayne's prototype.
I'm back.
All right.
So this is kind of what it looks like.
Whoa. What is that? A Goto bridge?
It's a Goto 510, EV 510 actually. So with Graphic saddle. So this was actually one of the guitars I used to use for my gigs quite a bit. So ash body, flame maple top, contours like you can see here.
Beautiful.
Nice contours, nice flame top. EMG pickups, cause I like EMG pickups a lot.
Wait, are these
Yeah.
covered? Are these covered with a gold plate?
Nope, these are white.
Oh, white. Okay, it look kind of different from you. Okay, so these are. Oh wow, nice.
Yeah, white EMGs, black body, simple minimalist kind of thing. So
Is it black?
these
Is
are-
it black? Is it all black?
sorry,
The body is not entirely black, is it?
it's transparent black.
Oh, because from the
Good.
camera it doesn't look black at all. It looks like there's grain in it. Actually.
Yep, there
that's
is grain.
There is grain, right?
Yep, it's trans black. It's a black burst actually.
All right. So what's the neck profile?
Neck profile is like a C to a D actually. So you can see it's not exactly thin. It's quite chunky on the side. Yeah, so C to D. It flattens out on the upper fret, so it's easier to play. But I do neck profiles of any kind, like pretty much anything that you want for your profile. I can probably shape it out.
So is this a channel bound or rather a one piece or is that bolt on?
This is bound, but it's a two piece actually. So rosewood or maple. So it's rosewood, maple, and with binding.
Oh, cool. And is it bolt on? Is it bolt on?
Yep, bolt on.
All right. Okay.
With no neck plate. I like these kind of things because it just makes it feel better and easily accessible.
Can we show the body again? Let me see the body.
Yeah. Side, nice contours.
Right. So it's more like a tally.
Yep, it's if you remember Valley Arts, this brand in the
Yeah. Back
80s
in
and
the
90s,
80s.
it's like a Valley Arts kind of. It's my take on the Valley Arts kind of thing.
Nice.
Telly shape with strat kind of configuration.
Yeah. Almost like a Nashville.
Yeah, almost. But no telly sound. Doesn't sound anything like
Yeah.
telly.
So that would be great if the last humbucker can be split call. Can be called split.
Oh yeah,
that would be great.
It does.
It does.
Split.
Then you're in business.
Yeah, it does split. So there's a little push pull here.
Cool. All right. Then any interesting thing on the electronics?
It's EMGs, so nothing really special on
You
this
have
guy.
a SPC control and all that? No.
SPC's on the other wall. The other one's not here. The other one's at home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah. So on the other one, I actually put the SPC on the tone. So I don't have a tone control. It's just volume and SPC.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Thank you, Wayne.
No problem.
Okay, Leonard said something, Comforter Spirit. Someone told me that using lighter fluid is good to clean the fretboard.
It is actually.
Yeah, but then if you're a smoker, that would not be a good idea.
Yeah. May catch fire.
Yeah, then your playing will be on fire. So will you be on fire? Okay. Well, they're kind of impressed with your prototype. So cool.
Thank you guys. Yeah, to answer Leonard's question, yep, it's a 89 actually, that one. EMG 89.
All right. Okay, good to know, Dennis. You guys are opening cautiously, and so I hope the people will be cautious too. Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear about what is happening in the States right now with all the riots and especially with George Floyd's death, or rather murder. I just hope you guys just keep yourself safe, if you can.
I think last Dennis got a question. Have a 45-year-old Epiphone blonde acoustic guitar. I've actually played divots into the fingerboard at the Cowboy Courts, your first 3 or 5. Frets are worn down too. Can I get by with a refret only? Yeah, usually in this case, for a 45-year-old guitar, I think you should spend a bit of money to get the refret done. Yeah, it's 45 years old. Give it a bit of credit,
Hey, Dennis, this is a Epiphone. So it's a 45-year-old, so they should be made in Japan.
No, made in US.
In
actually.
US? Oh, yeah, 45 years. Oh, yeah, correct. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
It should be made in the US. So it's worth it.
Yeah, definitely worth. So treat the guitar a bit better. Put some new frets on it.
So when do you do what's that word? Relic.
Yeah, I do.
Relicing.
I have a lot of requests for relic jobs. I actually do a lot of relic jobs. So like this strat in the corner right here is one of my early relic jobs. Yeah.
You want to show the guys how it look like? Is it hard for you
Sure.
to take it down?
It's not too bad. It's not super heavy, but this one's an ash body.
Oh, Swam Ash. I can see the
Yeah,
grain.
Swam ash body.
Beautiful grain.
All of this is real wear. This is not relic. This is from years of playing actually. Yeah, so but some of the relic stuff that I did was actually on your forearm contour here where it wears pick guard aging in the Smoky Club for many years. Smoky Club knobs, Smoky Club pickup covers, they're not white anymore.
Show us the back of the neck.
Back of the neck is
Oh,
plain.
that's
very plain.
That's pretty. Wow, that's a nice flame.
Yeah, nice flame, this one. But the neck's got a bit of a twist actually, so I haven't had time to really fix up this guy yet. So it's kind of my bang around workshop guitar.
So where's the neck from?
Neck was actually from Music Crafts many years ago. It was one of those guys who make custom made necks. So I ordered one through eBay, not from Music Craft directly. And when I bought it really cheap because it was damaged, and I repaired the neck. Now the neck has got the issue again, so I gotta go fix it up again.
Nice.
Yeah, nice guitar.
Nice. Cool. Okay, Dominic, good night. Good night, Dominic. See you again. Okay, Fat Cat 87. Does using a copper and aluminium shielding for electric guitars, does it suck the tone away? He noticed that some people would rather shield the guitars to treat noisy single pickups.
No, it doesn't really suck any tone away. It just prevents interference from coming through. So unless interference translates to tone, then I don't think it will suck any tone out.
So Dennis just confirmed that his Epiphone is made in Japan. Was made in Japan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, still worth to do it because Epiphones now are made in China.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
So have you done any work on the more recent Epiphone guitars from China?
Yeah, I have actually.
What do you think of the quality?
Honestly, it's not bad lah.
Not bad, right?
It's really not bad. It's pretty decent for what they're coming up with now. But maybe about 10 years ago, the epiphone quality from China was quite bad. So they really improved a lot over the last 10 years. Like the country did as well. The whole country improved a lot in the last 10 years.
You're talking about China.
Yeah. The manufacturing sector in China, actually.
Yeah, and that's why I've been trying to tell people, because everybody's still thinking that, that China is like really backward, and there's still mention of sweatshops and stuff like that. So
definitely there are sweatshops, but not like how they used to be anymore.
Yeah, I mean, wherever you call it, some people will have this always this set perspective of China as a country that's been, the businesses are run by greedy owners and
businessmen.
And the guys who are making these guitars from Harley Benton, they are like sweating in this tiny place and wearing a singlet or a wife beater shit, and that's not the case. I've seen some of the factories there in China. They are all like state of the art.
They are real facilities, and in fact, I mean, having seen a lot of the facilities in the US and the Chinese facilities, easily comparable.
Yeah.
Easily. Yeah.
So I think that the quality of the China-made guitars have improved tremendously for the last 5-6 years. They actually made a jump, and it's very apparent when you look at some of the Harley Benton guitars and some of the guitars that are actually made in China, and they're actually not bad. Well, I'm not plugging China because I have any affiliation with the Chinese government. I'm from Singapore. We are both from Singapore, so
yeah.
I wish guitars were made in Singapore. Then I'll really plug the
Soon,
Singapore made guitars.
very soon I'll be making.
Right. Okay. So, well, everybody's impressed with your second guitar, I guess. It's the neck. It's always the neck. The neck is the one, especially the flame and everything. So I want to ask you another question. What about this thing called quarter-sawn for necks? You have the quarter-sawn and then you have the normal ones, but
flat-sawn.
All right. So most guitars, like I noticed that all the guitars that I tried from G now, they are all quarter-sawn. The Fusion Pro for Harley Benton, they are all quarter-sawn. So what's the difference between the quarter-sawn and the normal ones?
Quarter-sawn is just better. It's more rigid, actually. More rigid than flat-sawn and less prone to warping. And maple itself is already a very hard wood. So when you have a quarter-sawn neck, right, the neck wouldn't actually warp much as compared to a flat-sawn. Because flat-sawn is, the grain orientation is it's
this way, right? So
yeah, it's this way. So you have a tendency to go up or down, whereas quarter-sawn is this way. So you can't really walk when it's this way, if anything you walk sideways, but guitars don't walk sideways.
Are there guitars with the other ones? Like so far?
Flat-sawn?
Yeah.
All of the old Fenders were all flat-sawn.
Really? Now that's interesting.
Yeah, all of.
We're talking about which year? From which year?
From the 50s all the way till like even up till the 90s, man. 50s all the way to 90s, a lot of the Fenders were flat-sawn. Only in the early 2000s then they started to use quarter-sawn. And quarter-sawn is only reserved for like custom shop guitars. So most production Fenders, even up to today, are flat-sawn guitars.
Is my Fender Japan Strat a flat or a quarter?
Careful.
Yeah, it's a flat. And that was like back in back in 1987. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that one's flat-sawn.
Oh, great! I just ran out of battery. So cool. So no more funky legs. So, okay. So the only difference with the flat-sawn and the quarter-sawn is that it's more. Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't warp as much.
But quarter-sawn is more expensive.
So again, Leonard is asking the same question which I asked about before. Like, are there like differences between the woods that are available in China as opposed to the US? You have Canadian maple, right? Canadian maple and stuff like that. So, are there any differences?
Big difference, I think. A lot of the Chinese woods, right, are like Chinese local woods. They've got their own ones. American woods also have their own local woods, but I believe that for instrument manufacturers at least, right, a lot of the woods, especially for the Chinese woods, they are using import woods as well. So China is one of the biggest importer and exporter of woods in the world, actually.
Where do they
Yeah,
import
so-
from? Where do
Sorry?
they import from?
Everywhere, from Africa, from America even, from Canada, from Middle East, local woods. Indonesia, also another big wood supply country, you know. Because Indonesia is so big, people tend to forget how big Indonesia is actually. Yeah, so Indonesia is abundant in wood. In fact, a lot of like the modern day ebony that you see on guitars today, ebony, rosewoods, they're all from Indonesia actually. Indonesia and India actually, a lot.
How about the Caribbean rosewood that we see in the G&L guitars?
Oh, Caribbean rosewood is actually from the Caribbean, right? So those are usually import as well.
So, according to you, like you work on both, like the rosewood fretboard. Are there any differences between the Caribbean rosewood as opposed to the East Indian rosewood?
In terms of sound,
Feel. I mean, we established the fact that it doesn't play a whole lot of difference when it comes to the wood of the fretboard, but in terms of feel, like is there a lot of difference?
it's about the same actually. Honestly, it's about the same, but it just looks different. You know, the grain pattern, grain orientation is a bit different. Some rosewoods tend to be oilier than others. So Caribbean rosewood, I think, is not as oily as
East Indian?
like Madagascar rosewood, for example.
Oh, okay.
Like Madagascar rosewood is naturally oily wood. Yeah. Like Madagascar, Brazilian rosewood also very naturally oily. Indian rosewoods tend to be dry. Caribbean rosewoods tend to be pretty dry as well. Amazonian rosewood also quite dry. There is another thing called Guatemalan as well. Guatemalan rosewood is also a bit dry.
All right. So what do you think about what PRS is like harping on all the time about tone woods, and why the guitars cost so much? Because they use all the exotic woods that they source from around the world. What do you think of the concept? Without offending anybody, of course.
I think it's I think they're onto something honestly, but I mean it's also how they treat and store the wood as well, For PRS, I think their quality tone woods tend to be derived from the idea that okay, like I buy this lumber from a lumber yard or my lumber supplier, and I actually treat the woods properly before they actually become instruments. So like with a lot of the boutique manufacturers in the US, right, the woods are actually there for at least like 1 to 2 years before they are even made into an instrument. So lumber supplier will sell wood to a guitar company, and the guitar company will probably hold on to the wood for 1 to 2 years for the wood to acclimatize, get the moisture content right, and then they will treat the wood whether they roast it or not is a different story. So these are the little factors that add up to it being a quality tone wood. But on another angle to look at this, I mean, wood is wood, right? Yeah, wood is wood. I mean, it's just how you treat the wood,
So it's
Essentially, they're all
the way it's been treated.
yeah, correct. Essentially, they're all around the same thing, I find.
Okay. Well, we have Dennis who says, was it Dennis? Someone said it's about electronics that are that comes from China. They are really cheap, and some of them are actually quite low quality. So, what do you think of that?
Electronics from China are really cheap and low quality. Okay, yeah, I agree. Actually, so a lot of the electronic components in China are made to very, very low quality tolerances.
Right.
Yeah, like pots, especially potentiometers, switches. These are things that will just wear out if you just use them heavily.
But are there higher grades of electronics available?
Of course,
in
there are.
China?
There are higher grades, but for like instruments, right? They usually put the cheapest thing on because the instrument makers need to make their profit margin as well.
Yeah.
Pickups as well. Pickups because they are also all machine wound. They are all CNC wound, so there is no handmade aspect to it, and they are all assembled on an assembly line as well. So I mean, these are little things that make people wonder, like, oh, why is the China-made guitar so cheap as compared to an American-made guitar? Or like a handmade guitar, for example. Like if you compare a handmade instrument in China as compared to a production line in China, right, the price difference is also pretty big.
Yeah.
So, because I do know a few good luthiers in China as well.
Yep.
but it's not cheap, man. Like some of the Luthier instruments can easily go up to 5,000-6,000 US,
Yeah.
even.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of them.
Yeah.
Right. And well, someone have a question. A Guitar 78-ish asked whether do you ship your vintage Strat pickups to Canada?
Yeah, I do actually. But when production is out, when I actually launch it officially, then I'll get to all of you guys out there.
All right. Dennis says that he bought a China-made Les Paul kit and was pleasantly surprised by the quality of the wood. The flame veneer was beautiful, and not only and I only had to do minimal work on the neck. Well, good for you.
Oh, yeah, the Les Paul kits from China that are coming out these days, right, are all very high quality, to be honest. The woods that they are using are good woods. I mean, nice proper rosewood, nice proper mahogany, nice proper maple. I mean, of course, you don't compare it to like your Gibson custom shop whereby they are using Honduran mahogany or Eastern maple, you know. Like, but what the Chinese are doing right now is they're at least using the right woods and decent quality, so that when you make the instrument, it actually looks decent. But the electronics, like he said, is really crap.
Right. So let's talk a bit about something that's closer to home, lah. You have worked as a luthier for like including the time spent in the other shop. How long has it been?
15 years.
15 years, right?
Yeah, 15 already.
So as far as you can see, even after this COVID-19 episode that is happening in Singapore, after the shutdown and everything, what do you think are the chances of recovering the music industry economy, or rather the livelihood of musicians in the near future?
I really hope it gets back to the way it was. But
Do you think that this will happen this year?
no, definitely not within the year. It's going to take some time with a lot of the venues and performing places closing down, right? I mean, there's a lot of news that's spreading on social media, like on Facebook. You can see people sending out lists of place A is closing, place B is closing, and the list goes on, and it's a pretty long list. So, I mean, with all these negative effects, right, I don't think that the industry will open up so soon. I mean, everyone's very hopeful. Everyone's thinking like, oh, yeah, let's hope that it opens up next month, and let's hope it opens up in August, in October, and so on, right? I don't think it's going to be that soon for it to restart, at least, because all these places all have operating costs, and right now there is no real subsidy or anything for like the operating costs for these places, actually. So the ones who are really getting hit are the bosses, which is why many of the bosses are deciding to close the places down.
So it does affect you in the long run, because musicians will need work in order to finance to upkeep their guitars, right? So it does affect you.
Correct. Exactly. So, like for myself, I would, as much as possible, would want to save the music industry. But I mean, I'm not Superman, right? You know, I can't do it. You know, like I just hope that the music industry doesn't die.
All right. So these days, are you doing a lot of what is the bulk of your work? Like guitar repairs, or what do you do mostly?
Guitar repairs all day, every day. Yeah, I mean, very thankful and blessed, because like I have a lot of customers who are not just professional musicians. Like they are a lot of hobbyists, leisure players, people who play for church as well. So I mean, that's a good amount of work to keep me surviving still, you know. And very thankful that I don't have to like close my business down because of this pandemic.
That's
Yeah,
great.
at least the work is coming in. I'm still surviving, and things are going pretty good, you know. Just that there's more input than output right now. Yeah.
So have you spoken to a lot of musicians who are like, you know, either on the phone or whatever, you know, I've spoken to a couple of them, but I mean, you are more in tune with some of the musicians that I do not have any connection with.
Right.
As you had mentioned, there's a musician who actually, kind of like does delivery for you.
Right.
What about the other musicians? Do they have other things to do in the meantime?
Everyone's looking for alternative incomes, man. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, your livelihood is the more important thing, right? I mean, as much as you want to have your career doing music, and as much as you want the music industry to carry on, right? the fact of the matter is, and the reality of things is, it's not happening right now. So people still got to put food on the table, got to feed their families and all. So many of them are going into alternative incomes like Grab, ride for hire services, delivery services as well. Many of them are doing food delivery as well right now. So some of them, I mean, they have other skill sets. So they do film editing, they do audio editing. I mean, whatever things that come along the way, I think right now is, as long as there's work, just go and do it.
Well,
at least it brings in income.
were you able to get any subsidy from the government?
I was, yeah.
That's good.
I did get the start of the subsidies, the first $500 and then the $600. But the SIRS, I actually only applied for it today because my NOA just came in today actually. So I just had it applied today, and it takes about one month for them to process it. So fingers crossed, hope I get it. Because I didn't make more than 100,000 last year, I definitely made less. But income tax thought that I made more, but it was a mistake on their part. So
Okay. Let's not knock the government too bad.
Yeah.
In case some of you guys do not understand what's happening here, the Singapore government has provided us with some funds to tide over this COVID-19. So we've been having little batches of money being sent to our bank account, and yeah, it's good. I mean, I really appreciate what the government is actually doing for us, especially guys like me who are self-employed and we are like freelance musicians. We don't work for a company. We're not like Wayne, who's the director of his own guitar making conglomerate. So
I wish.
So we have been so blessed because we have a government who actually cares for us. So yeah, we just want to say thanks to them. So yeah.
Yeah.
But in any case, more could be done for musicians like us because apparently in this country we do not have a musicians union. We do not have any government body that actually looks out for our welfare as music makers. So unlike you guys in the States, and you have the musician unions and stuff like that, we don't have it here, sadly. But we're just hoping that things will change in the long run and in the near future. So if you guys are praying community, or if you are a praying man, may keep us in prayer. So we'll need that. Right. So anything that you want to share with us, Wayne?
Anything personally, I think it's a very good lesson that this pandemic hit the music industry hard, and it's a good hard lesson to learn actually for musicians all around the world. Actually, I mean, not just in Singapore. Like, you gotta have your alternative streams of income and not just put all your eggs in one basket. I think that's the biggest takeaway for me in this whole situation. Like, I was very lucky that I had guitar repair going on for me, and I didn't have to rely on playing music professionally and just making money off music directly. So I think it's a good wake-up call for a lot of musicians. Like, don't just put all your eggs in music, like start having to like doing other things like you, Uncle John, you do videos now.
But musicians tend to do that. They tend to put all their eggs in a basket, and not only their eggs, they put in their chickens and everything.
Correct.
That's how we think, because music is our passion.
Yeah.
So we are driven by passion, and
correct. But
you heard the
also,
saying that a lot of musicians are not good businessmen. So,
yeah. So I think one of the important lessons I find that musicians need to learn is start being transparent with your income. Start declaring your taxes, because I think that's the biggest problem that really affected our local industry in Singapore at least, is that because a lot of the musicians don't earn enough to even declare their taxes, or feel like they should declare their taxes, because we are already living on live day by day. Like, whatever money I make today, it's just gonna last me till like the next day until I get more income from the next gig or something. So because of the lifestyle that we are already in, not being paid enough, we tend to be a bit more sensitive on declaring taxes. So, and the way the government works here is that if you don't declare your taxes, they will just think that, you never contribute to the economy. Simple as that. Yeah. So I think
it's actually more complicated than that. But we're not going to discuss it here because
it's a long.
It's gonna. We'll probably take 3 hours discussing this, and not all points are legit because it's coming from you and me. So there are a bunch of musicians out there who actually do not think the same.
Yeah.
But I think as musicians, we have a singular mindset. That is music is a passion. It's not a profession. It
Correct.
was never a profession for me because I love making music. And I guess it's the same for you. Luthering
we
was
all-
actually a passion for you, right? You fix up
Yeah.
guitars and build guitars and do pickups. These are things that are important to our soul, you know, not to
Correct.
mention anything. But if we can make some money out of it and bring the bread home, as well as the chicken, then, you know, good, you know. But
Yeah.
we have to balance it all up in a way, lah.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem right now is there is no balance for our industry, at least in Singapore, or even recognition. There is no recognition for our industry as a collective in Singapore. Yeah,
Yeah, that we would you know.
Talk again.
Yeah, we'll talk again. But I guess everywhere is about the same because I know musicians who are suffering in the States because they don't have gigs to play, no more clubs to play to, no more concerts, you know. And if you don't have all these venues open up, like for example in China or in America or in the UK, when there's no club gigs, when there's no concert, you know, there won't be any albums planned because albums these days they can't sell just for the sake of record sales or CD sales or whatever you want. You know, the album is tied in with your tour,
yep,
right? So if you can't tour, then chances are you will probably not have any albums up, and that will affect a whole bunch of people, the arrangers, the producers, the sessionists, and it's a domino effect. You know, it affects everyone across the board. So
it snowballs.
yeah, it's not just us who are suffering. You know, every musician out there is suffering, right?
Yeah, but I think the biggest thing that I want to say is keep the passion and the love for what you do alive. Yeah, don't let a pandemic like that stop you from doing the things that you're passionate about, which is something that I've been seeing as of late with a lot of fellow musician friends as well. Yeah.
All right, Wayne, I don't want to keep you from your work because Edward is working alone while you are like, you know, shooting the breeze with me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let you go. Thank you for tonight. Thank you for
Thank you for having me, Uncle John.
dispensing your wisdom to all of us, to those of us who need it.
It's okay. Anytime, man. Anytime you want to do this, just hit me up.
Yeah, and I have a couple of questions about how are they able to reach you if they are interested in any of your custom-made guitars. You know.
Yeah. I will put my website down, and on my website you will find my contact details. So feel free to drop me an email or drop me a call or a message, text message as well. Because sometimes my email gets flooded. I have a lot of inquiries every day, so I may miss one or two emails or WhatsApp messages. I think one of my customers earlier on, Will, actually reminded me to reply his text on message. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Will.
Yeah, Will. So Will was the one who has been texting you.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. That's no way to run a business, Wayne.
Sorry, it's a one-man show. Difficult.
Well, you have Edward now, so Edward can help.
Edward does the most of the work now. Actually, I do a lot of the inquiries now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're behaving more like a boss than anything else.
No, I still do a lot of work still. Yeah.
Okay, Wayne. Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
John.
Thank you so
Take care.
much. All right, gonna
Have
let
a
you
good
go.
night.
Bye.
Bye.
So that was Wayne. I hope you enjoyed this live stream. He ran about 3 hours, I guess. And I'm kind of glad that Wayne was around to answer some of the questions that we so desperately need to be answered.
You hang up with Uncle John.
So I've been reading a little bit of your texts while I'm having this conversation with Wayne. Yeah. So I kind of lost some of you guys over in London or rather in England. What's happening there actually? Like, you know. Oh, really, Alan? Oh, no. You're welcome, Gwenta. So are you guys still in lockdown, Alan and Ian? Are you guys still on lockdown, or has the lockdown been relinquished? Oh no. Hi, Detlef. You were very late, but anyway, you can always catch up. Ah, I see. I see now, Alan. Okay. So in Wales and Scotland, it's already been opened up. It's opening up. England opens on the 15th of June, and that's why the mess. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what's happening in Singapore too, because when we opened up on the 1st of June, that was like what a week ago, right? People started going to the supermarkets in droves. So this is all, even with the warnings that the government has given, like, do not bunch up, we just be careful of that social distancing and stuff like that, but people would just go down to the supermarket as if like everything is over, and they were like shopping in droves and the shopping malls and stuff like that. Well, as far as social distancing goes, I think it just went out the window, but people are still wearing their masks, so it's good in a way. It's still good. I just hope that in any case, this is a week, right? So we have a couple of new community cases. Not a lot, like 4 to 7 cases, new cases, and some from previous cluster groups. Yeah, it's not that bad. But we have teething problems and certain policies that doesn't make sense. Like we've been advised by the government that we should not be mingling around with people and to be aware of social distancing, and yet they took out every social distancing rules in the buses, in the trams, in the subway. People were just like crowding, sitting with one another in the train for prolonged periods of time. And what's the whole point of social distancing when you don't even have that in buses and trains? So there are hiccups here and there, and I guess it just takes time for them to tweak it. But I'm kind of glad that things are like, up and up in a way, and there's no like a second wave or whatever for now. So I just hope that you guys are also experiencing that in a way that that people are responsible, that they behave responsibly. And yes, I think I read some of the comments that there'll be idiots around. There'll be people, well, I don't want to call them idiots, but there are people who will not use their brain, and people who are conceited and selfish, and we have them. We have them here too. We have our fair share. So for those of you guys who are out there, just watch your surrounding and be really careful, especially those of you who are staying in the States. With all the riots that's going on, just watch your surroundings. All right, Guitar 78. You are in Ontario. Right, so it's opening up, and it's good. Oh, Alan, no? Oh, it's still on lockdown in Scotland and Wales. Okay, all right, okay. Yeah, yeah, Dennis. That's the biggest fear that everybody has about the riots, because when you have a group of people, that's where the shit hits the fan. All right, okay. Yeah, I think the riot, um, yeah, I mean it's really sad that the George Floyd lost his life, um, and the riot was for a legitimate business. I mean, it was a legitimate issue, to be voiced out. But because of this issue, there is still this existing COVID-19 thing that's hanging around our shoulders, and a lot of people, because of the emotions running high, they kind of like neglected the fact that COVID-19 is still lurking around, and I just hope that people will come to their senses. I don't know whether you guys saw the videos of looters, hitting what is Guitar Center, I think, in a music shop, and dragging away and carrying away like dozens of guitars, and all these are all high-end guitars. I'll be watching that video like repeatedly, and I don't actually see like, wow. I mean, it's like really mind blowing. It's really mind blowing. It's really sad. Yeah, you're right, Jack. Sometimes it makes me wonder because I've been in this line like long enough, right? Couple of decades. I've seen good musicians, bad musicians, good producers, good record companies, bad record companies, publishing firms and stuff like that. But none of this can be compared to what goes on outside the world in terms of politics. That's where the real villains are. And you see like things that is so sad. You see things that boggles your mind, because it's like, why are these people doing this? Why do you have all this racism and brutality and policies that doesn't make sense? And I've dealt with musicians all my life, well, probably most of my life, and like I said, I met the good ones, I met the bad ones, but none of them can be compared to what's around or outside the world. And you're right. You're right that we if who said this? Who says that if the world can behave like how musicians behave, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be a better place? We musicians, we have we have the odd ones out. We have the ones who are filled with egos, and but generally musicians tend to respect each other's craft, and whatever the other party has, the talent that this person has. We don't go out to kill that person because he plays faster, or he plays better than you, or he sounds better than you. We don't do that. But they're doing that out in the world. People who judge you by the color of your skin. I get judged by that all the time, just because I'm Chinese. And we see all this in the world. But here we are in YouTube, among a community that understands each other, and we see the stark differences, and I feel the love from you guys. I'm sure you guys feel the love from fellow members of this community, whether it's in this YouTube or in any music forum, and we tend to kind of like agree to disagree in many cases. Like for example, what we just talked about in this session with Wayne, about tone woods and stuff like that, we can agree to disagree. But whatever is happening out there, they can't do that. They just cannot agree to disagree. Someone has to be the top dog. Someone has to have the final say. And that is so distressing for me. And people are dying for it. People are suffering for it. And, all this in conjunction with the COVID-19 and everything, it breaks people. And my heart goes out to those who have lost their loved ones either through the COVID-19 or through some of the riots that are happening. Yeah, sorry, if I appear a bit emotional, but that's why I agree with one of you guys who says that you don't look at the news anymore because it just tears you apart, and you're right. I've been spending the last 2 days watching some of the news report, and I'm going like, oh man, this is happening in the States. This is not happening somewhere in a third world country or anywhere else. This is happening in Canada. This is happening almost everywhere. It's like, what is happening? Yeah. So for you guys, I just hope that you guys just keep yourself safe. Play the music, play a guitar. Get some joy into your soul, if need be. You're right. The richer get richer, and the poorer gets poorer. And we, in a way, I'm kind of glad that we are able to see the disparity in society as it is right now, because the murder of George Floyd kind of like highlighted everything, and that's just like a week or so or 2 weeks before another murder of a black man, right, of a black brother. And this is what's happening, and I'm kind of glad that all this have been like highlighted in a way, and this is what's happening all over the world. There's racism everywhere, even here. In Europe, same. In Australia, Canada, everywhere there's racism, and we need to do something about this. We need to be actively involved in discouraging this, in any sense of the word. That racism should be eradicated from our vocabulary if possible. It's a long shot, but we could try. You're right, Jim. Respect has to be earned, and the ability to love someone. That's something that is hard for a lot of people, and the ability to love yourself for all Americans is even harder. We have been raised up in so many different cultures. You Americans have your way of living. The Canadians have their way. The British have their way of living. We Singaporean Chinese, we have our way of living. The Taiwanese have their way of living. The Chinese have their way of living. Their upbringing, everything is so diverse. This is what this world is all about. Staying in Singapore, a metropolitan city, we have influences from everywhere, and I mean everywhere. We have Indian, Malay, Peranakan, we have the Western culture, we have European culture, we have the Chinese culture, we have the Malays, we have everything. And every one of us have their own way of bringing up the children. Every one of us have their own way of living their own lives. We get racism since the get-go, when we know Chinese don't like certain things. There are incidents where a Chinese immigrant from China who became a citizen in Singapore couldn't get used to the smell of curry that their Indian neighbor was cooking, and they made a complaint, and that caused a uproar because I've been living with smells of curry and all these nice aromatic cookings of different cultures all my life. Smell of durian. I put up with it. Even cigarette smells, right? And that's part of living in a community. It's part of living in a housing estate. But these guys, they're from China. They don't know better. I can't blame them because they have their own little village to stay in. They don't coexist with Indians or any other races. And everybody came up into an uproar and say that these Chinese people are racist. But I think it's ignorance. Basically, it just boils down to ignorance. And we see that everywhere, all over the world. But as musicians, we probably would not have so much racism, but we do have one thing: discriminations. And sometimes we discriminate against people who plays cha-cha, for example, or people who can play well. There are bullies out there, even in YouTube, where people make fun of players, and these have to stop. It's racism is actually almost the same or even worse than bullying, but it's about the same, and there are bullies everywhere. All right, guitar 78, and Alan, right? Whatever views you have about what the president of the United States is, just don't go there. I don't want to go there too. Time can only tell. History will write itself. And we would know what is the truth out there. But in this channel, like I just said, we are musicians. We love music. Music is our passion, and we learn to love one another, and we agree to disagree. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And yes, Andrew, you're right. There are many good stories and these are not shared. Yes, you're absolutely right. The media is a part of the equation. The media is always hyping up on bad news that startle you, so that people will go to their website, people will go to their YouTube channel to see what's happening, all the bad things, and the good news are mostly hidden, mostly hidden. Jack Collins. You know what? I'm a bit of a germaphobe too. My wife couldn't understand why every time I head out to buy breakfast, and then, and the vendor would give me change, right? Would give me the chain, and I would come home with the dollar note and the coins. I would spray them all with alcohol, put them back in my wallet once it's dry. So for the life of her, she couldn't understand why am I such, so anal about this. And I says, germs, darling, germs, COVID-19. It's okay, Alan. It's okay. It's okay, guitar 78. We are a bunch of people used to label us as weirdos. I remember back in the days, everybody would frown upon musicians. They would say, "Oh, you don't even call us." They wouldn't have the decency to call us musicians. They call us band boys. Go figure, band boys. That as if it was some kind of plague. Or thugs, or whatever. They don't even have the decency to call us musicians. And I had to live with that discrimination for years. And if it's not for the passion that I have in music, I don't know what will happen. You know. But we are a bunch of we are a band of brothers, basically. We are actually literally a band of brothers. So agree to disagree, agree to disagree, that's a key word. And we can get by. We can solve certain problems if we just stick together. That left, yes, you've been telling me about that guitar kit that you are planning to get. Or it's all out of stock. I figure. Guitar 78. Yep. It's okay. We love you, brother. Hi, Paul. Ciao. Boys, they don't call me boy in a band boy. And if you were to pronounce it in another way, band boy, like band boy, and that is not good, right? So you know what I'm trying to get at, right? Yeah. So we detest, back in the days, we detest people calling us band boys. We would be taught, no, we are musicians. So go meet yourself. Hi, Max. Dennis, we get all that. We get all that. And yeah. That's the way it is, But if we can stick together, that'd be great. So tell me, what do you think of the last video that I did? The legacy, the Gino Legacy or Fulton Deluxe Legacy. What do you think of that guitar? Do you think it sounded great? Another question I want to ask you is, ask you guys out there, all this period of lockdown, what have you guys learned? Like, what Jack just shared, that he's been playing his guitar since March and then fixing the ones that messed up. I've been cooped up in what his wife called a dungeon. Right? Well, at least he's got his stuff fixed up. So during this whole period of lockdown, what have you guys learned? Have you guys learned anything new, like new skills or anything like that? Thank you, Ian. Thank you. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I was thinking like maybe I'm trying to pursue a career in broadcasting. Yeah. Yeah. Right, Alan. It does cost a little bit more. Say for example, compared to Harley Benton or even a Squire Strat. But I would rather buy this guitar than any tell you the truth, right? I would buy the guitar just like that instead of like choosing a Fender or what's the new one called? Elite? It's not called Elite, which is just, you know, what is it called? The top of the range Fenders. You know, I would get that. You know, even sure, you know, I would get that G&L guitar because it really sounded really great, and it didn't hit me when I was recording the video. When I was doing the video, it didn't hit me until, like I said, like I mentioned, you know, when I was with Wayne, that when I was watching back the videos, I go, wow, this guitar really sounded great, and yeah. No, Dennis, a shovel with a string would not sound good. You'll probably cut my hands. That left, you will have the JA60 kit and a Tele kit, or a Tele kit or out. Oh, okay. So you're choosing either one of these three, right? So let us know what is your choice. That's funny, Orion. You learned that you cannot grow a righteous beard. So what does a righteous beard look like? Dennis, I'm learning new songs. I improved my acoustic style and practicing more for sure. Cool. Good for you, Dennis. Andrew Crodell, you should do a companion video between your white strat and the Legacy. I can't do that. You know why? Because the white strat is ceramic. The pickups are ceramic, and it will sound totally different from the Nikos. You mean this one? Yeah, I probably should do this in comparison with the Legacy. You're right. You know, but then again, the Nico 5s in that Legacy is pretty noisy, so it's not as noiseless as this guitar is. In terms of tone, there is a difference because that Legacy has a humbucker at the bridge. This is all single coil. And Alan, you're right. The GNLs are worth. You know, I get questions like this all the time. Like, you know, is it worthwhile to get a GNL, or should I get a GNL tribute? Well, my take is like, you know, just get one that just go to the shop and try it. And if you like it, it's always better, in my opinion, to get a Fullerton Deluxe than any of the ranges. You know, for me, if I were to buy a GNL, I'll make sure I can afford a Fullerton Deluxe. You know, and yeah, the rest of the guitars are okay if you're on a budget. It doesn't matter, you know, because we work within our means. You know, we don't have to aim for the expensive one all the time, but we can always save up if we don't have say a dire need for another guitar. You know. Yeah, that left. Well, I think in Germany it's kind of easing up in many ways. So I'm hoping to have the guitars that I requested from Harley Benton to arrive once I get the news. Hi, Paul Dreyfus from North Carolina. How you doing? Cool. That's good to hear, Paul. Yeah. That's great. Dennis. Baby Smith about my way. you know, you guys. Sometimes I wish I could grow a beard. You know, it would be so cool. You know. But then I've seen guys who have like real beard, like, you know, Santa Claus beard, and I wonder how this guy's gonna eat. You know, imagine in Singapore, you have all this beard and it's so hot and humid, and then you're eating curry and stuff like that, and it's all dripping down. Oh man, that thought, yeah, okay, I'm not gonna go there. All right, Dennis, you love the Comanche? Yeah, the Comanche is like it's still my favorite guitar. The Legacy is very different from the Comanche in terms of tone, and it's a different. It's almost like night and day. And when we talk about Comanche, it has its own distinct tone. The Legacy has its own tone altogether, and it's like night and day. And even though they're like the same format, like a Strat format, but they are very different. Andrew, yes, your Legacy is very noisy, and I have a Fender with noiseless that doesn't sound good. Yeah, you should try a hand at a Comanche. Is Amaray. Yeah, we could use some good news today. You're right, Jack Collins. Yeah, that's a great song. All right, Paul, I will check it out. Yes, okay, live. I've tried Music Man, and I love Music Man guitars. I absolutely love them. From the Silhouette to the Loops and to the other one. Yeah, great guitars, Same top-notch quality that you expect, and I've never been disappointed in the Music Man guitar. But, some of the new ones, I actually try in the shop. They're okay, but because they're not the same. They're not really not the same. Those are like the cheaper range. Those are made in Indonesia. Nothing about the Indonesian made guitars. They're good, but you can compare them to the ones that are made in the States. You can tell the difference. Jack, you get crumbs in your bread all the time. Right? Oh my good lord! So. do you get crumbs like in the next day and it's still there, and then you're hungry and you just dig one out and Hi Sky Aguirre, good morning to you. Jack Collins, well, I was learning to play when I was a kid. My mom used to tell me, I don't know why you practice so much. You ain't gonna make $1 with it. That's a mother for you, right? Sometimes you just kind of like, Mom, are you seriously saying that? That's funny. All right, Jack. Doggy bag, yeah. Built-in doggy bag. You want to know what I learned in this lockdown? Well, I learned a couple of stuff. I learned how to edit videos. I mean, really seriously editing a video. And I'm going to drop a video in what time is it? It's 3 o'clock. So I'm going to drop a video in 9 hours time. It's for my church. I did this video for my church. Did a song arrangement for my church because we have an online service at 10 this coming morning, and I did a song, a cover, and I did arrangement, they sent in the videos and stuff like that. It was an experience for me because it was in a way it was my first time doing a full video of all this collaboration and getting the sound and videos that I did and all this stuff. So I learned something. And I not only did that video, I did another video which features my family and a close family friend of ours who stays in Kuala Lumpur, in KL, in Malaysia. And my godson plays fantastic guitar. So he's in Malaysia. So his family and my family has decided to, I initiated the idea to do a song. So we're going to do a song, and I'm going to record vocals for I'm going to record my girls' vocals tomorrow, and hopefully get their video up probably latest by Tuesday, and that'll be great. So you guys might just want to watch out for it. So I learned how to do video editing through the new with a new software. I'm trying out DaVinci Resolve, which incidentally, if you guys are interested, is free to download from DaVinci from Blackmagic. And it's a great piece of software. The free version is a great comprehensive piece of software. I learned that, And what else did I learn? I learned. Well, that is like, there's a whole lot of learning to do, just to get into the workings of the DaVinci Resolve. And the other thing I learned is these live streaming thing, setting up this Streamlab and getting Wayne to come in as a guest on Skype. That was a challenge for me. So I'm sorry again for the hiccup, earlier when we lost his feed. Yeah, so I'm learning all this, and I don't know how this will come in useful in the future once this COVID thing ends. I'm just looking forward to going out there to play in the concerts again and hanging out with the band and with my friends, and just traveling. I've been cooped up too long, and I just feel the need. This is human nature. Come on, this is human nature. When I'm traveling a whole lot, which I did a couple of years back, I'm just dying to come home, and I was saying to myself, "Oh Lord, can you please just stop it so that I can just give me jobs at home so I don't have to travel that much." But now that I'm cooped up here, I just want to go out there. So humans are never satisfied. We are like, we are always complaining. Yeah. And what else did I learn? I learned about you guys. That's one thing. This is something that warms my heart. That I learned that there's a community that's warm and loving and caring for one another. I'm just great to be a part of it. I didn't start this. I didn't start this community. It just started by itself. Or say what you will about this is my channel and all that, but this is a community that just had a life of its own. And I learned about that, and I learned about how you guys are so that a lot of you guys, and most of you guys, have a lot of compassion for one another, and that's something that struck me. And the reason why I had a lot of this live stream, an overindulgence in the live stream, was because I was yearning for that. I was yearning to laugh, at what I just did, laughing at your jokes and to have joy in my heart. When there's so much sadness out there, and yeah, that's one of the reasons why I kept on having this live stream. I'm in my 13th live stream in this one, so. But then again, I gotta tell myself, control yourself, John. Don't do it. Don't overdo it. Live streams are fine, but just don't overdo it. So I have this voice in my head that keeps on telling me that, and that's why I went cold turkey for one whole week. But I miss you guys. I really miss you guys a lot, and I want to thank each of you for bringing that joy into my life. Thank you. So with that, I have to say, yeah, it's been fun. 3.5 hours actually, of this live stream, and I had tons of fun, and I thank Wayne again for joining us this evening and this morning, and I hope that you guys learned a couple of things. I'm glad you guys were asking questions to the left and to the right, so hope you guys get something out of what Wayne has shared. And I hope to see you again in the next live stream, which is going to be a week from now. But please, take care of yourself. I'm going to repeat this again. Take care of yourself. Watch your surroundings when you're going out. Wear a mask. COVID-19 is not over yet. Wear a mask, especially when you're in trains or in the buses, right? So take care of yourself and keep on playing the guitar. I love you guys. I really do. You guys are one of the best bunch of people that I've ever encountered. Even though I haven't met you physically, which I love to do it one day. I was on a phone call with one of my subscribers. His name is Alman, and he stays in Florida. And I called him because he wanted me to do something for, well, anyway. It was great to hear, the actual voices, and. So if you guys want to join my Facebook page, John is too loud. Yeah, join. Like the page, and if you guys are on Facebook, and text me whenever you guys wanted to, and I might just give you guys a call just to hear from you. All right. So you guys take care. Please do take care, and I'll see you again. You take care. God bless you. Ciao.